All right. Can you guys hear us? Can you guys hear us? I think you can. I think they can. I absolutely think that they can. Hang on a second. Yes, they can. Okay. Listen, guys, before I say anything, and this is going to sound weird, but is the show only starting now, guys? Are you only hearing this at the beginning? Did you hear anything I said for 10 minutes?
Did you guys hear anything?
Did they hear anything? They said, we can hear you. There's no video. Of course, there's no video, but is this show only starting now? Okay, it's only starting. Wow.
There you go.
Unbelievable. Before we say anything, we're not going to say who the person is in the chat, but I'm just going to give everybody a fair warning. I now understand a little bit. Earlier, I was explaining to everyone that we were going to start at 8:30 because Kev was violently ill earlier because of the excessive medications he's on because of, the heart scare he had. But the thing is that anybody that thinks that they're being funny, making any derogatory shit about Kev or myself or anything like that, you could super chat us $1 million. You will get booted. That is disrespectful. This is the Don, Tony, and Kevin Castle show. And, the 5-hour episodes that Kev puts out there is probably one of the reasons why he had to go to the hospital. So, anyone out there that, gets a little annoyed, keep your comments to yourself. It's disrespectful. If you truly like what we do, you want to get our attention, just wave. Sometimes we may not see you, but we'll wave back eventually. But we're not going to tolerate that, trying to be tough guys and everything. So
yeah, bad mouth in the host when they're not around, and someone's got to tell me that you're doing that. I mean, just tell me you're afraid of me without telling me that.
Yeah,
don't worry. I have reach everywhere, so you live even out of country, I will get you.
Well, I got to tell everybody something funny before we go on. All right, and this is legit. This is 100% legit. At 8:05 p.m., I started the show. I have video, and I'm not going to leave the video on, but just so people could see, I have the video on because Kev was very, very ill. We'll just leave it at that. And there was a good chance that he was not going to be able to come on because health comes first. So I started the show at 8:05, and I'm talking and I'm ranting. I don't see many people reacting to what I'm saying. And I'm talking about Travis Scott, and I'm talking about, some of the things about last night, and, you just explaining some of my complaints. And then I hear your voice and I'm like, oh, okay, he's coming on. And then you told me what happened about what somebody was saying. And then I look at the chat and there's still no reaction. And everybody's like, no, we don't see nothing. We don't hear nothing. I forgot to click the start stream. So everything that I did for 15 minutes, the audio recorded, but not the video. But the good thing is that we're here and we'll go as long as, if you need to dip away, absolutely, no questions asked. I got it. Just, don't overdo it. But Kev, I got some thumbnails put aside. And, before we go any further, mind blown last night. Based on what we've talked about recently, I never thought in a million years that I would see it. I thought it was AI. I thought I was in an alternate universe. Kev, I couldn't believe it, but it happened last night. Io Sky smiled. She smiled. Grumpy Cat freaking smiled.
I know. I can't believe it. I know, Grumpy Cat. I mean, she makes me sad. Like every time I see her. The saddest wrestler I've ever seen is Io Sky.
Oh my God.
She could take a sunny day and rain all over it.
Io, read the freaking room. You're smiling last night when Bianca and Rhea are intense. You're frowning when Rhea's smiling. Read the freaking room, Grumpy Cat.
She's a cute Grumpy Cat, but I laugh when they try to make her the girl, because I'm like, unlike Asuka and Kairi Sane, who look happy to be in WWE, Io Sky looks like, send us some sort of smoke signal that you're being held captive above your will and you really want to go back to Japan. I mean, because she just has a face of sadness, and I don't think that's why she's ever really going to get out. I don't know how fans can. Well, there's a lot of depressive fans. I mean, I'm depressed right now, so maybe I can connect to her. But
yeah, you got $198 super chats already, so there's nothing to be depressed about.
I mean, yeah, I mean, listen, I take health over money all day long, but
so of course.
I literally give away if I just have a good day tomorrow. I'll donate everything, just to feel better. But no, it's just like it's comical that she looks sad all the time. It's just her natural look.
Yeah.
Like when she's just kind of got resting sad face.
Yeah.
I'm
telling you, if she was Indian, that would be a perfect name. She's resting sad face. That sounds like an American Indian from the, like a chief, like Chief Resting Sad Face.
The new joke will be, hey, EO Sky, why the long face?
No, right? Listen, we got to obviously talk about the main story. And I don't know how you feel about it. We'll talk about the moment first, then we'll talk about the other people who were in the ring. One person that I honestly don't think should have been, and I'll explain why. But, after all of these years going back to Thugonomics, John Cena last night did what was best for his business. He aligned with The Rock, turned on Cody Rhodes, and John Cena. Not only did he win the Elimination Chamber, but he sold out, if you want to call it that. Now the thing is, I don't think, unless he comes out and tells the fans, I didn't sell out, you all sold out, and like him putting it on the fans, I have a feeling this is going to be a case where John Cena, if you remember, even when Cena used to be booed, John Cena never wavered from his kids, the young audience out there. And I don't see John Cena necessarily turning his back on the young kids. I think John Cena is, you see what happened at the Royal Rumble. You see what happened, so he's doing things now to benefit him, because for way too long he's been doing things to benefit others. But I consider this the second biggest heel turn since Hulk Hogan at Bash at the Beach. And the reason why I put Bash at the Beach first is because when Hulk Hogan turned and betrayed WCW and leg dropped Macho Man, it created the NWO, which started a chain of events. Not only did they beat WWF for 83 weeks straight, but it also forced WWF to change their game a little bit, and then it led to attitude. I'm not saying NWO was all the reason. I'm not saying Hulk Hogan is the reason, but my point is John Cena's heel turn is for 9 months, for 10 months. You know what I mean? It's for 9 months. That's really what it is. And once at the end of the year, he turns on Rock or knocks out Rock. Rock is, disappointed in him, and he goes out as a baby face again. Then it's right back to where we were before. John Cena's turn is going to be a major memory in the annals of wrestling, but it's not changing the landscape. What's your initial thoughts of what you saw last night?
Initially, I didn't like it because I thought it was going to be Punk, and I wasn't mad that it wasn't Punk because I wasn't right, because I got some other things right on that pay-per-view, like the Naomi thing, but I just thought Punk was the better reasoning for him to turn. He's still mad about that 15 years ago when Miz headlined against John Cena. He never headlined the WrestleMania as big a star he is. John Cena's headlined many WrestleManias. Punk came back, had a lot to prove, won big matches, deserves to go to WrestleMania. John Cena has lost the majority of his matches for the last 7 to 9 years. But then you could say, well, yeah, Kevin, there's the the rhyme and the reason is that people, if I'm a little off, I'm violently sick before, so I'm really just trying to get my wherewithal about me. So forgive me if my cadence and my words are a little slow or off, or I'm not my usual Kev cadence. I'll get there. But that's a reason for John Cena to team up. But John Cena is already a star. He's a star in the film. He's a star in his own TV show on HBO Max. He's a movie star. Not as big as Rock, but he has all the riches and all the things that Rock has. Punk doesn't. Punk is not as wealthy as Cena or Rock. I just thought Punk was the guy who fit this suit best, and the promos would be epic. From Punk. Cena's got to change his style, though. The jorts, the pasty skin, the white cotton socks that go up to the ankle, the white sneakers, not very becoming of a late 40s man. And if he's a heel now, he doesn't got to wear a suit and pretend he's Ric Flair. But do something with this image. I don't know if he can't grow facial hair. Do something with his hair color is an odd orange type of hue. I'm not sure where he's going for. Maybe a Bob Backlund look. And everyone is saying, and DT, you tell me too, when did he become a doppelganger for Jim Varney, Ernest Goes to Camp?
He does.
He looks just like Ernest. He looks just like Ernest Goes to Camp. And Ernest was like a silly, goofy face guy that made a career on that silly face look. John Cena's not non-threatening. Even when he was beating up Cody, he needed help from Travis Scott. Travis Scott threw the worst working punch that was real out of the three of those guys. Travis Scott hard-weighed Cody the most. And my thoughts on that are, it was just gross that if you're going to let a celebrity be part of something like that, for God's sakes, at least Logan Paul and Bad Bunny know how to work. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That punch was, I've seen that punch. I've seen people punch people like that outside the bar on the sidewalk in the face, where we had to get them off of them before they kill them or break their orbital bone. That was a real punch. Did he mean to really hurt Cody? Probably not. No. Did he get caught up in the moment, this guy, Travis Scott? Probably. But that was very dangerous, because a broken orbital bone could have took Cody out of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Seriously. He's not going to wear an Undertaker orbital bone mask from 94. That's not going to work for Cody Rhodes. That would have been, can you imagine if he broke Cody's nasal cavity bone and his orbital bone?
Yeah.
That's 6 to 10 weeks. Forget WrestleMania. He's out.
And
this fucking moron ruined it. It got no reaction. And DT, it's irrelevant how big a star he is. It's like when people say Taylor Swift sold 90 million records. Doesn't matter if it's Prince, Elvis, Bob Marley, fucking Frank Sinatra.
You're actually putting those guys and guys.
No. But I'm just saying, because some of the modern fans don't get the value of some of the people from back in the day, because they just, they weren't born yet, so they don't think it's important to do research from history. But Travis Scott, Taylor Swift, whatever, you're going to partake in another profession, do it fucking right. Just like when you host Saturday Night Live. And Elon Musk, you got to learn your fucking lines to do it. You don't just go there and go, I'm rich, I don't have to do my lines. Or he actually had to rehearse. He had to come to rehearsal, because you're going into another realm of professionalism, and you got to know what you're doing. He hard-weighed Cody Rhodes. And there's no way in fucking hell I believe that Cody Rhodes asked him to lay it into his face.
Yeah.
No fucking way. DT, you know that. Lay it into my back. Lay it into my fucking, on the back of my fucking, into my tailbone. Yeah. No one goes hard way punch me in the eye. No one says that.
Yeah. Well,
so because people are like, he could have been in on, him and Travis are pals. I don't know what pals they are anymore. Did you see Cody's face? Did you see Cody's face?
Yeah.
I don't know if his Brandy appreciated that. So I don't know what kind of pals they are.
I'll say this, and I'm not. I hope everybody understands this. A little disclaimer before we go any further. Kevin and I go back over 20 years doing this, and hopefully everybody has come to realize that we praise things, we criticize things. It is never based on skin color. It's never based on gender. It's never based on nationality. We express our opinions. All right. Someone will always interpret it as being misogynist, a racist, this and that. I don't care if Travis Scott is white, black, straight, gay. I don't care if he's Japanese, Chinese, Italian. It has nothing to do about that. But here's the thing. And here's my take on it. When I put a thumbnail up earlier today to plug tonight's show, I posted a picture of Bash at the Beach 1996, where Hulk Hogan turned, betrayed WCW, formed the NWO, and I also photoshopped Master P in the photo. And the reason why I say that is because if I didn't have on the jersey No Limit, I guarantee you a majority of the wrestling audience would say, fuck is in that ring with those guys there? My point is this. You take the second biggest heel turn in the last 30 to 40 years, and 20 years from now, if Travis Scott is not a household name, people are going to look back at that moment and they're going to say, who the fuck is this person in the ring with The Rock and John Cena and Cody Rhodes?
Why was he part of it? I don't associate him with The Rock. Why was he part of it?
There was just, and listen, people are saying now, oh, he's training to wrestle. That's nice. And people that are comparing it to Dennis Rodman, let me
do more training, by the way.
Yeah, let me say this about Dennis Rodman. All right, and here's the difference between anybody that's using that Dennis Rodman was in the NWO argument. The difference
30 years ago, by the way.
Right, but here's the argument. Dennis Rodman was not in the ring at Bash at the Beach 1996. He was in the NWO months later on. You don't take the biggest moment in the last wrong one. You don't take the biggest moment in the last 30 years and put someone out there that 10, 20 years from now, no one's going to have a fucking clue who that is. But the good thing is, because I had some free time today, we actually can now remove Travis Scott from history. So from now on, whenever Travis Scott, until I feel otherwise, we will replace Travis Scott with clowns. So that's nice. What we got. So even like they were advertising this thumbnail for the Elimination Chamber, we have replaced him with a clown. We have this special moment from Elimination Chamber. We replaced him with a clown. And if you don't like clowns, no worries, because we could even do it without clowns. And my favorite one of them all, this moment, just think about this. 20 years from now, we're going to see this moment and people are going to be like, who the fuck is that? So you have a choice. Either we could remember it like this or we could remember it like this. That's how I look at it. Right. There's no business for him to be in that ring at that particular moment. I don't care how big he is right now. It's just for wrestling fans, 20 years from now, I just feel people are going to look at that and be like, who's this guy in the ring with these wrestlers?
Yeah, it was just ill-conceived. But Cena turning heel is a big deal, but he's got to change his image. You can't wear the jorts and be pasty, and that hair is ridiculous. I mean, either shave your fucking head, shit, or get off the pot already. I mean, it's like Sting. It falls apart on sight. It's like it's sprayed together, and then it splits at the middle like a loaf of bread. It's kind of weird. It's a weird kind of balding because it's not. It's like it looks like it's all together, and then within a couple of moves, it spreads in the middle and falls out. So and by the way, he's got money up the ass. He can't get plugs.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like they should use that in storyline. Like The Rock now is going to rebrand John Cena, and part of it is The Rock is going to have John Cena get hair plugs.
Yeah, exactly.
He should fill in the bald spot.
The visual of him again, Cody, CM Punk's more kind of grimy. You could say, well, you're a tough guy. Look, look what happened to him in the UFC. Well, in wrestling, he's a on TV screen tough guy. Cena, you don't buy him as that. Right. You don't even buy Cena as evil. He's got to change his image. That comes with the territory. As soon as you turn bad, you do something to tweak your image. That's wrestling 101. Anybody knows that. Anybody who doesn't know here in the chat, go back and do your homework. Most people who turn do something, whether it's a haircut, go get some sort of facial configuration, get a walking cane like Brian Pillman did. Mm-hmm. Do something to change it up. Wear a suit, wear a vest, again, everyone's got their thing. The jorts and dressing like a 15-year-old is not going to jive. So I'm hoping that's where Rock's like, yeah, the visual, John, we got to change you up a little bit. And I'm sure if John's an actor, they're both actors outside of wrestling. And that's their other job, is to portray characters. So it should be pretty simple for him to portray a new version of John Cena. People say thugonomics. I don't know if you necessarily have to go backwards. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to go backwards. You can go forwards. I mean, look at Undertaker. He reinvents himself. You can say the badass goes backwards, but Taker will shave his head. He'll do something. He'll gain weight. He'll lose weight. He'll do something a little bit different to change it up. And I think when you're a top guy, that's always something that you got to do. Only guy I haven't seen do that, and not quite honestly, it's kind of why he's kind of run of the mill is Goldberg. I mean, even Austin, he didn't change his look, but Austin changed his catchphrase. So I don't think you could go back to rhyming and he's going to go in the ring and rap and rhyme. I don't know about all that. I think that maybe some sort of advancement where he just cuts scathing promos on people without having to do the hip hop gimmick. You know what I'm saying, DT?
Mhm.
Like, just come out and be a mean guy. Just come out and be a mean prick. You know what I'm saying? Not a juvenile, but a 47-year-old man who feels like he's put everybody over in the company and he did this to send a message, and maybe even name the people that he put over where it gets real. You know what I'm saying, DT?
Yeah.
I have to put over this Solo Sikoa who's in the business for like 3 years. I'm John fucking Cena. I got a job to Solo Sikoa. Do shit like that. That makes it real. There's no one in the chat who wouldn't think that was awesome. Can you imagine him coming out and naming these guys? I had to put over fucking Baron Corbin. I got to put over these fucking jabronis. And listen, some guys might take it the wrong way, but he's a top guy, and he should come out and express that he had to put over Austin Theory. And what's Austin Theory doing now? DT, I think that would be gold, him saying that.
Yeah.
I think it would be gold. All these guys I put over that I came back to do, with the exception of Reigns, are all doing nothing. No titles. They don't have any belts. One was a self-declared tribal chief who's the B Squad tribal chief, makes Cena go scorched earth on everybody.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter that Rock is related to the bloodline. It doesn't matter.
Again, I think some people out there, getting back to the Travis Scott stuff, we talk to you, so don't just hear something, but listen. We didn't say that Travis Scott should not be involved in this. I personally, if he's training to wrestle, I think if Triple H has Bad Bunny come out there and kick the shit out of him, yeah, that will get a lot of play outside of wrestling. All I'm saying is that when you have, this is professional wrestling. You don't take Travis Scott's biggest concert and have Roman Reigns performing with him at the biggest moments of his concert. If somebody wants to make a cameo during a performance, that's why when people are like, well, what about Dennis Rodman? Or what about Cyndi Lauper? Nobody's saying that him or anybody else can't be involved with this. We're just saying that you take like this iconic moment from Bash at the Beach and you start putting hip hop stars and country music artists or, TV show hosts out there, then people are like, why are these people in the ring celebrating? And here's the difference, too, if people really want to get technical. When Mr. T first got involved with WrestleMania, Mr. T got his ass kicked from Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff, and that led to the match. When Cyndi Lauper hit the ring after Captain Lou Albano had a record bashed over his head, she basically was trying to protect Captain Lou or whoever it was, and Roddy Piper kicked her away with a foot. Here you got Travis Scott that's basically jarring Cody Rhodes in the back of his head, acting like a street thug. This reminds me of Raw guest hosts. I hated the Raw guest hosts back in the day because the Raw guest hosts always seemed to feel that they had to, have the last laugh, the final one-up during the segments. And some people went into business for themselves. Again, I have nothing against Travis Scott. I totally am fine with him doing something. I Show Speed doing something. These are very, very huge people in the entertainment world, period. So I get why they're there. I'm just saying that when you're talking about iconic moments like this, right. it just, to me, it's just, I didn't like it. I don't like it. It
should be more for the people. Yeah, it should be more for the guys and the girls who are in the profession. I think it's they can have spots. Like Bad Bunny has a spot with Damian Priest in Puerto Rico. His epic entrance in his hometown. They could do that for Travis Scott too, wherever he's from, Texas or wherever he's from. They can do stuff like that. But when it comes to these kind of moments, could you imagine? Lex Luger slamming Yokozuna on the Intrepid, and he had an assist by Lou Ferrigno. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. Or Arnold Schwarzenegger helped get him up in the air. Be like, it's not the same. So again, when he's holding Cody down and, hitting him, it's like saying, last time I saw Travis Scott with Cody Rhodes, weren't they in a car together hanging out and they were in front of an arena talking about how great this was going to be going to this place?
Yeah.
again, where's the history there? I don't associate him with The Rock. I've actually seen Travis Scott more with Cody Rhodes and outside ventures and interviews. I'm positive of that, by the way. So that was, again, kind of strange. Um, but I do believe that Cody will have one person in his corner, and that's going to be Roman Reigns. Seth Rollins will be two at some point. I believe that Rollins and Roman will have their fight like two brothers, get this whole Shield shit out of their system, beat the fuck out of each other. Unlike Owens and Sami, when Reigns and Rollins are done, they'll be friends again, because I see a Shield reunion coming down the line in about a year. I don't know if Moxley will be part of it or not. Moxley seems to be a lifer, but I don't even know if it matters. I mean, Reigns teaming up with Rollins at some point wearing the Shield gear is epic. Moxley as the third man would be great, but I don't think it's needed to have a first part reunion.
Yeah.
But those are really the only two guys you can count on it. I don't know how Heyman plays into it, or the favor for Punk. I don't know. I mean, Punk might still get added into the mix. This could become a three-way. There's no evidence that it is or isn't. I mean, we're just right now playing guessing games, just like with Naomi. Is Naomi on her own? Is Naomi with the Meta Girls? Is she the new leader of a faction?
Yeah.
It's all speculation. I mean, but that's the fun part of it. We get it right, we get it wrong.
Yeah.
But it's no different than not knowing the new season of Curb Your Enthusiasm and guessing what crazy Larry David's going to do this year.
Yeah.
So that's what this is, man. I always laugh when someone in the chat takes so serious. You guys got this right. You guys got this wrong. It's a fucking TV show. We don't have the advanced script. We don't have the advanced script. I didn't know how Everybody Loves Raymond was going to go off the air either. I didn't know they were going to do an episode where Raymond almost dies from having his adenoids removed. I wouldn't have guessed that back in 2007, but that's how they ended it. So again, when it's a TV show and you're not working there, it's all just speculation and opinions.
That's what makes wrestling so fun many times.
Exactly,
when you actually think something's going one way and they go a different way. And when they do go the different way, it's really good. That's when wrestling's at its best. I'm glad I was wrong. I mean, honestly, I think, what you and I said on Monday about how CM Punk could have incorporated Paul Heyman, I think that would put it this way. That storyline would have been beautiful for wrestling fans. This is now a storyline that is designed to get more attention outside of wrestling, but we could segue to this because, Tommy D sent this earlier, and thank you, Tommy, for the 50 spot. He says, "What's up, guys? I'm so not liking this forced influx of social media influencers and hip hop in the WWE. I really think this is going to backfire with fans in a few years. Our thoughts." Again, I totally understand why WWE is doing this. Listen, I loved when Lawrence Taylor took on Bam Bam Bigelow. I was a huge Giant fan at the time, but even, since 1995, I have debated with people over the years off and on that were not Giant fans. And it was very regional. And a lot of people were like, that was one of the worst WrestleMania main events of all time. And I totally respect that mindset. To me, that was WWF that was not trying to be global phenomenon, pop culture acceptance. I understand why WWE's doing this, but do you feel that since they have gone to Netflix now and, like WWE now it's not, they were never just a wrestling company. Obviously it was entertainment. They always branched out over the years. I mean, there's been, people in the movie world, entertainment world, but they've always had celebrities involved. But does it feel now that they are forcing, this direction, like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. Cause like I said, I loved that Braun Breaker speared ISO Speed, but listen to that closely. The wrestler got the upper hand on the social media influencer, and it should not be the opposite from the get-go, in my honest opinion. Now, yes, I think Travis Scott will have a receipt coming to him, but is this going to hurt WWE in the future? Like forcing this outside, is it too off balance? Like, are they doing too much with the non-wrestlers, with these very high-profile segments?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure who really likes it. It seems half the chat, from what I see, doesn't care and like who, and they give zero fucks. And the other half is like, they're big stars and they add eyeballs to the product. It's the same. It's like politics, man. It's like a tale of two cities, man. You could split it down the middle. Every other comment is pro or against it. Or, its opinions vary like anything else. I mean, I mean, even you see guys like JD, our friend, who will say, oh, get bigger rock bands in there or whatever, that are still
listen,
around.
Before you say what you say, to Dragon Den,
Yeah.
I want you to listen what Kev's about to say, because I know where Kev's going with this, and it'll answer what you were saying as far as people focusing on hip-hop. Kev, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, where's the metal and the rock bands? Like, we used to have AC/DC and Motorhead and stuff. Well, first of all, some members from AC/DC and Motorhead have passed on recently, so they're not really the same band anymore. And they're in their 70s. And again, I'm a guy in my mid-50s, and I realized too that it's not even about us. It's about the majority of the new generation crowd. I mean, back in the day, certain things would make sense. I remember this. They had Kiss on. You guys remember when they had Kiss in WCW play there in like '97 or '98? Kiss was hot at the time. They just put the makeup back on. I was at a lot of those shows at MSG, but nobody gave a shit in the WCW arena. Nobody cared at all, even though Kiss has their fans. I think, Lemmy playing Triple H out years ago at a WrestleMania to the theme. That's all cool and stuff, but you can only really do that once, and you gotta, listen, Limp Bizkit was Undertaker's entrance theme at one time. Remember Rollin'
Sure.
used to be his theme? Limp Bizkit isn't popular anymore. They're old hat. They're passe. I'm in the metal club business. Trust me. Limp Bizkit is old hat. They're considered like senior citizens now. Fred Durst is around my age. So you got to go to new stuff, and hip hop has been around. Hip hop's been around for years.
Yeah.
Listen, it'll be no different. Listen to someone my age. If you ask people my age, get LL Cool J out there. Yeah, if you're in your 50s and 60s,
Right.
Run DMC and LL Cool J would probably be the go-to. But
Not now.
the teenagers and 20-something is like, isn't LL Cool J like a grandfather?
Yeah.
Like, I respect them and shit, but I wasn't going back to Cali 35 years ago. I mean, so they're not stupid. Kids are smart. They get to see things today. They know what's happening. They know what's hip. I have teenage nieces and nephews and they're wearing shirts of people I never heard of. And then they tell me about them and I look them up, and they have millions of followers and stuff beyond the Taylor Swifts and the Travis Scotts. There's tons of new modern celebrities out. And just because if it's not our cup of tea, us old podcasters, me, DT, JD, Jason, Mish, Draper, who we're all, by the way, over 40. Not all of us are over 50 like me and DT, but they're all over 40. It's not our day. I mean,
Right.
to deny the youth generation of their celebs that are hot now,
Yes.
it would be no different than us making fun of our dads, DT, for liking Elvis and Sinatra, and we would be like, oh, we get they're epic in your day and stuff, but everybody's got their time. When Guns N' Roses goes on tour, it's a nostalgia act. They don't chart. They don't chart anymore. Guns N' Roses doesn't sell records anymore. They don't chart. Travis charts. Taylor Swift charts. I get that. I'm in the industry. So that's why I may be the old man on the hill, but I certainly am the realistic guy when it comes to why they get these musical guests. I totally get it. And as I told JD, dude, it's not for us.
Yeah.
It's not for us. There's stuff for us. There's stuff for us.
Actually, yeah, that's Cody's
Right.
side.
Right.
Like with Cody's side.
Yeah, there's stuff for us, right?
Yeah.
But the other stuff is for the younger people, just
exactly.
like
that's why I get it. I don't have to like it, but I could understand it, and I totally understand why WWE's doing this. I don't think it'll backfire years from now, because the next hot thing will be the next thing that WWE uses. And when people cool down, it's cyclical. You look at 30 years ago and you see, you know, Alice Cooper, you know, or 40 years ago, you see Alice Cooper. 30 years ago, you see Run DMC. Right. And then you got LL Cool J. So
even Kid Rock's old hat at this point. Yeah. Kid Rock's a senior citizen guy. Kid Rock is no different than Fred Durst. He's old. Yeah. You know, he's up there. He's over 50. And it's not, and that doesn't mean like you're finished or whatever. You can go on, play to your 90, whatever. But if you're playing to the new generation, I mean, you remember DT, you remember the movement back in the 90s, you know, the new generation of why they got rid of or didn't want to re-sign guys like Hogan and Savage. And they got, you know, even though Kevin Nash was almost 40, it was kind of funny to call him the new generation. But Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, all the you know, X-Pac, who was 1, 2, 3 Kid then, this is the new generation. Even though, again, the guys were in their mid-30s, they weren't exactly kids on the block. See, Roxanne Perez, to me, Braun Breaker, tell me if you agree with me, guys. You two DTs. Tiffany Stratton, right? Jada Parker, who are legitimately 23, 24, 25, 26 years old. Look it up. That's the future, but that's also the now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If I'm in college, I'm all about fucking Jada Parker. You know what I'm saying? Or Roxanne Perez. That's my girl if I'm 21 years old. Absolutely. Why the fuck would you be all about Trish Stratus, who was probably your grandmother's age? Because she looks good. There's generational wrestlers that are people see as timeless for everybody. I think that's why some of the younger people get annoyed with Taker, because Taker's old school and back in my day you did this and this is the dues you paid. And some of the young people don't want to hear it because they've heard this from their parents already. They've heard this from older podcasters already. And they're like, I respect the hustle back then, but times change. You know what I mean, DT? Totally. I'm not happy about everything that changed. In what we do in podcasting, me and you started out 20 years ago. Jason was a young upcomer. He was in it. Give him credit. He was there right by us. There were other guys. Who's that other guy you always talk about, DT, who started out, who's still around, who came back before us in doing podcasts?
In your head?
No, that guy. I can't remember his name. But those guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then now there's a million young dudes in their 20s and stuff, and every time they get a question from, hey, what you guys think about like WrestleMania? Well, you know, I wasn't born back then, and they get out of the question by doing the I wasn't around back then.
Yeah.
Me and you never had the luxury of doing that from day one.
Right.
If someone called in and asked us about Baron Miguel Cicluna, we needed to answer the question.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's true.
So it's true. We don't get to say
the answer. Yeah.
Dude, even now, Kev, what do you and DT think about this fucking Mildred Burke movie coming out? I know this is not your time, but clearly you guys must know about her. You know, you guys have been around for your historians. How do you not know? But ask some young dude podcast who's 25 to review the Mildred Burke movie. Like, no fucking way. They rather review Halloween 7.
They'll review Tony Storm's performance in the movie. They won't.
Because Tony Storm is in the movie, but they're not going to research Mildred Burke. They have no interest whatsoever. So again, it's a different time. You know, I mean, it's totally a different time. I again, you know, that's what's funny about people thinking that I get mad about this stuff. If anything, I kind of side more than you think with the younger generation than I get credit for, because I totally get it, because I put myself in the same position as you guys. When I was 19, I didn't want to see Bruno Sammartino. I wanted to see Ultimate Warrior because he was into heavy metal and the heavy metal fucking entrance. Bruno's great, but that's my dad's day. That's not my day. So, you know, and the John Cena thing is going to be a little interesting to me, and Rock too, because I think they're personally both going to get a lot of heel heat. I don't think they're going to be cool heels. I think they'll have a contingency. I don't go by because Canada cheered. I don't go by that. You got to remember, guys, Canada cheered for Hogan. So it's like, I don't go by Canada. No offense, Canada. But I want to see what they do in the States, state to state. I don't think the fans are going to boo Cody because he's too much of a baby face. I think John Cena is going to get heel heat. I don't think he's going to get cheers.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
Bob the Builder said something that you mentioned earlier. Do you think there is a chance that we get CM Punk as a three-way? I just still have that bad vibe that it's going to be Rollins versus Reigns versus Punk, because Rollins and Reigns, it seems, what it seems like to me? It seems like WWE really doesn't want to pull the trigger and have Seth Rollins as a full-blown heel. So by having CM Punk, Rollins and Reigns in the mix, like everybody has a personal vendetta against the other person. CM Punk obviously has it against Rollins. CM Punk eliminated Roman Reigns, right? Yeah, he eliminated Roman Reigns. So, there's definitely some issues there, but I just wonder where this favor card is coming in. I would have thought the favor card would have had to have done with main eventing a WrestleMania. And I certainly do not think, even if it ends up being Rollins, Reigns, and Punk, I don't think that'll close out night one. I think they are absolutely going to close out night one with Jey Uso and the Yeet and him winning the belt and, just the crowd going off the air, losing their shit. But here's the thing also. Chris, you could mention about the three-way in a second. Chris Cutler thinks that Cena now has to win at WrestleMania. He's going to be there for the rest of the year, and he could be the heel champ defending the belt. So do you think there's any chance of Punk being in the three-way? And do you think Cena could win it?
It's possible. I mean, WWE pulls a lot of these rabbits out of the hat. I mean, look at last year's WrestleMania. Look at everything that changed at that press conference in Las Vegas, where Rock slapped Cody, and none of us saw that coming. I mean, I remember me and you couldn't wait to get on the air to talk about that.
Yeah.
Because it was so like, wow, Rock is like, don't talk about my family, smack. And that changed the whole fucking dynamic. And fans could say, well, we forced the issue. We understand that Rock versus Reigns is epic and has to happen one day, but Cody has to win. It's his finish the story, we all know the fucking logo. But, and yeah, they got that. And now it's a year later and things change. And some people, even here in the chat, probably find Cody to be, what's the word that we all use for wrestlers that we are getting a little bit long in the tooth with? Boring. Yeah. I personally find Randy Orton boring. One of the most boring wrestlers I've ever seen. I hear voices in my head. Gets on the top rope and does this pose, and that's pretty much it. And everyone's like, oh, he's the greatest of all time. Grab the pillow and fucking I'll get a good night's sleep. Yeah, great talent and stuff. But, to me, it's like, okay. He came back last night and beat up Owens, who was already spent. So I don't know how exciting that was. But, again, we all have our favorites. We all have the people we like. But, yeah, people are thinking Cody's getting boring because it's been a year. And if someone's going to unseat him, it has to be in epic fashion. So why not a bad guy, John Cena, representing the new Vince McMahon, Rock, being the new corporate Vince McMahon type?
Yeah.
Without the sexual allegations. well, not yet. I'm just kidding. I don't think. Yeah, that would have came
Rock's
out by
too
Rock.
Busy
by
having
now,
his pee in a water bottle and.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it would have came out about Rock by now if he was living foul like that.
Yeah.
But nothing surprises us as wrestling fans. I think we're prepared for anything every day with these headlines of something happening. But so I think Cody's got, because if Cody just faced, say, Drew McIntyre, does anybody really think that that's a WrestleMania worthy match?
Nope.
Half the chat here in DT, quite honestly, and put to the side that the guy's got the number one hand gesture and silly word shirt sales. Okay, yeet and putting his hands in the air and to his knees. That's great. Take that away. On paper, Jey Uso versus Gunther, is that a WrestleMania main event for any of you guys? Forget the yeet movement. Pretend there's no yeet movement. Pretend Jey just got it because he won the Royal Rumble by accident, and now he's in a match. And there's no yeet. There's no catchphase. How exciting is that?
I wouldn't close out a WrestleMania with it without all that other. But since they do have it, I would close out night one with him.
How exciting is that without the fact that because what everyone's doing right now, even if you don't like Jey Uso, I'm not talking about personally. I don't know him. Not like him. I'm a Bloodline fan, so in a way, he's like part of my team.
Yeah.
It's like, I love all the Mets. I don't love all the players on the Mets, but I love the Mets. Jey Uso's a Bloodline guy, and I love the old school Bloodline, so I'm a fan. But everyone wants to see the stadium up on their feet doing the hand gesture and the down since day one and the fucking, like it's a dance party. Not even like it's a wrestling event. They want to see it like, you ever see the college football teams that come out to like Enter
Yes,
Sandman
sure.
from Metallica, and everyone's going crazy and the crowd's jumping down? That shit's, me and Draper were talking about it at that time, like that. We go and look at those YouTube clips sometimes because like the whole fucking building is shaking. Like when the football team's coming out, it's like wrestling. They bit off wrestling, basically college football, with their entrances, and they're playing Metallica or Megadeth or fucking something like, or Welcome to the Jungle from Guns N' Roses, and it's like, and it's a great visual. So I think more people are like, I want to see Jey Uso win because I want to see fucking 90,000 hands in the air doing the fucking yeet dance.
Yeah.
That's why you want to see it. Come on, guys, be honest with yourselves and with us. Do you really sit here as you're listening to the show and go, no, Kev, for many years, I thought I've been a guy who has been in Jay's corner and I've wanted him to win the world title for about 7-8 years now. Come on, guys. You want to see the vitriol. You want to see the hype because you want to see that epic visual. But as DT says, when that's over, then what? Right. Because he's got to cut me. That's your famous expression, DT. Okay, then what? Well, because he's got to now do promos, go on TV shows, make the loop as the champion, go on radio shows, and talk, which is his weakest fucking thing, is to talk to other people. So what do you do then? What's he going to do? Go on Howard Stern and get up and they're all just going to dance and go yee, yee, yee for an hour? They're not going to have a discussion about anything? I mean, come on. How long is that one-trick pony going to happen? At the very least, Daniel Bryan could talk and had a great story and could tell stories and was actually a good promo. Kofi Kingston was charming and an intellect and a smart guy and looked good in a suit and stuff like that. Jey Uso is kind of like taking a kid off the schoolyard and giving him a championship jersey and telling him he's a forward for the Lakers now. So I don't know, man. You could say he's in the game 17 years. That's great. A lot of people are in the game for 17 years. I was on a show with that girl LuFisto the other day who's wrestling 22 years. So I mean, does years matter just for some people but not for other people? Somebody works harder than somebody else because they're your favorite? Or does everybody deserve it? Is there a shelf life that when you hit the 15-year mark, you should get a championship? Maybe we should do that with everybody.
Somebody in WWE Creative did the trading places. They bet somebody $1. They're like, let's take Jay. I know he really, he's got his mindset is like he's off the street, but let's polish him up and I'll bet you $1 we could turn him into world champion. And the whole storyline now is he doubted me, you doubted me, she doubted me, everybody doubted me. But at WrestleMania, I'm going to show everyone why I'm no champ. And that's the storyline. So somebody's going to owe somebody $1. He's Eddie Murphy from Trading Places. But Eddie Murphy was great. I want to see, as of right now, I want to see Jey Uso get it.
But do you think at the expense of Gunther, does anybody here see Gunther is a dominating champion? We all can agree with that, right? He's a serious dominating champion. Is there anybody here who thinks Gunther is a goof and he shouldn't be the champion?
No,
Does anybody in the chat think that?
I want to see Jey Uso lose it to Sami Zayn at SummerSlam, and I want to see Gunther maybe move on to fucking Cena. I think people want to see. Could you imagine if Cena really goes full-blown heel and they position Gunther to like challenge Cena? I mean, obviously we don't want Cena to go over on Gunther, but oh my God, those fucking chops would be amazing, man.
I love when Gunther said to the crowd who was doing the yeet, he goes, "A simple gesture for a simple people," and I'm just like that's to me that's gold. I mean, and Jey Uso and John Cena will be short-term champions. And listen, the Reigns 4-year championship, Bianca Belair being champion for 1 year and stuff. I think those days are over for most people. Cody will clock in a year and lose the title. So he'll make 1 year, which is respectable, and lose it to Cena at Mania. I don't think any of us doubt that Cena is going to walk out of there with that 17th championship. And I don't think DT, by the way, it's about him counting titles to get over Ric Flair or some bullshit competition.
Yeah.
I think it's just the story of John Cena, his last tour. We all thought it was going to be the jolly good good time babyface tour, and his last tour is, the time is now, but he's doing it as a heel. So it's kind of like we're all waking up from even last night. It's hit me today much harder. I even said in one of my posts, I says, as 11 o'clock last night, I hated this. And then by 3 o'clock in the morning on my follow-up, go look what I tweeted. I said about 5 hours later, rewatching it again, uninterrupted, I'm kind of seeing it differently now. So I did have a change of heart with a rewatch and 5 hours later, and then going back on Twitter, staying off it, watching it uninterrupted without interacting with anybody, and saying, all right, I kind of get it now. You know what I mean?
Well, I'll say this. I'll throw another point out, and then we got a whole bunch of Cena super chats we got to bring up.
Great.
But I'll say this. I'll tell you something else that needs to happen at WrestleMania. Absolutely must happen at WrestleMania, because The Rock is doing the corporate storyline and doing the McMahon type storyline. Rock has to put a special guest referee. Maybe Rock ends up putting himself as a special guest referee, but they have to. Now Rock has to do everything possible to make Cody Rhodes' life miserable. John Cena alone is not enough. He's going to have to really, really pull all the strings on Cody Rhodes, and he's got to, stack all the cards against Cody Rhodes, and Cody Rhodes will have to lose at WrestleMania because it was just overwhelming. And then who knows, maybe Cody Rhodes ends up the one who beats John Cena towards the end of the year. It could end up being that.
It's possible.
But I think we're going to have a special guest referee. Absolutely. Rock has to do that. He's going to instill a special guest referee, an outside enforcer. My only problem so far is Triple H. What do you do about Triple H? Like when some people were saying yesterday, wow, how come nobody in the back is coming to save John Cena? Well, that's easy because and later on we could find out that The Rock threatened to fire anybody who tries to help Cena. Not Cena, make the save for Cody. The Rock could say, anybody, maybe Cody goes up to somebody later, on Friday and says, how come nobody came out there to help me? And, we find out that Rock threatened to fire anybody that tried to save Cody. But, speaking of some Cena feedback, Ronnie C says he loved the Cena turn, but he is not looking forward to the return of let's go Cena. Cena sucks. We haven't heard that in ages, man. There's probably a lot of fans that never even experienced that live.
Yeah, we'll definitely get that. I mean, again, I don't see Cena as the cool heel, and look, Rock's not the cool heel. I mean, Cody has his fan. I think if you even odds, probably 50-50 crowd. I think more people for Cody, because I think some people really were expecting Punk or someone else to get it. Drew McIntyre, maybe. And it's funny, Punk is only a year younger than John Cena, but Punk is. Would you guys agree that in ring and from a cosmetic look, Punk is, since he come back to the WWE, Punk is aging better than John Cena.
Yeah, I agree.
On camera, he looks better. He just does. John Cena's got more muscles, but CM Punk looks better in the ring. And just again, and if you would have said this to me 2 years ago, I would have said, Punk is washed, forget it. But Punk has kind of proven himself to me. I mean, he's remained injury-free since he's been back, knock on wood. And he puts in a great match, and he doesn't try to overprotect himself in the ring. He doesn't have people go soft on him so he doesn't get hurt like some top guys would. So, again, I don't know, again, people are pipe dreaming because everyone's like, dude, imagine he comes out, Thugonomics theme with the hat on and the jersey of the town that he's in, and then he makes fun of the town that he's in. DT, I don't know. Do you see as a corporate champion? I don't see that. I see that as going backwards.
I agree. I just, I think because of the dynamic of John Cena turning heel, it's like, all right, this is the last year we got Cena. Let's make it, the most memorable it possibly could be. I guess, I tell you, as ridiculous as this sounds, many people thought that WWE was going to pull a trigger and have CM Punk main event WrestleMania this year. because, he could be one injury away from calling it a career. And CM Punk has had that, stigma of being injury prone since he returned to AEW. But I also think that part of it was because AEW, you don't have as much of the grind. And I think, if you're not wrestling as much and you're not in the ring sparring and working out as much, especially when you get older, I think you get high of a risk of something going wrong. But I think when Cena had those Christmas matches, the holiday tour, and he wrestled 4 nights in a row, and he didn't just have a Gaga matches. He tore it up with Kaiser. He tore it up with, I think Dominic one match. And I was watching these matches. I'm like, holy shit.
He wrestled Grayson Waller a couple of times.
Grayson Waller. Yeah. I mean, 4 nights in a row. And I was like, wow.
Guys half his age, DT. Half his age.
Yeah. So, and he escaped that with no issues. He feels good. Like you said, he does look better. He does look better. So I think that WWE now feels comfortable that, CM Punk 2026. That's what.
Yeah, you think you think that you guys in the chat think that too, that Punk has, been a model citizen. He's signed for 5 years. He's going to be here next year. John won't. That there was a discussion. Hey, listen, and Phil has respect for John. We know that, despite the promo, the pipe bomb, right? He's always liked John, he said, and John's always liked CM Punk. So I think there was a meeting where it's like, listen, it's not your year, it's John's last year. You will headline WrestleMania next year. He's not gonna be here. You will, and you in a year you're still doing this. He's not. So you think that was sold to Punk, and he's like, all right. I mean, if I got to fight, I'll do the 3-way dance with Reigns and Rollins. That's a top match. I'm working with 2 of the top guys in the industry. That's almost like a main event. Yeah. So you think CM had to be coaxed into that, or he was like, I'm on board with this. I'm totally on board with this.
I listen, contrary to what a lot of the media out there will try to convince you, a lot of all the major players are already in tune of what was planned for this year's WrestleMania, maybe even part of next year. And I think, each person was discussed like, look, this is what we want to do this year. And, okay, you may, like Drew McIntyre, listen, you may end up just working Damian Priest this year, but, next year, we'd like to do this. And I'm sure they did that with CM Punk. I'm sure they did that. Roman Reigns obviously already had his due, so anything we get now is gravy. But I think for some of the individuals, I think they understood, look, this is where we're going to go this year. And I do not believe for 1 minute what these people, anonymous people, are putting out there that, even though WWE's having record numbers, like the locker room is, there's a lot of disappointment and upsetness. It's like you said, it's natty. It's like I don't want to single her out, but when you really, really think about it, everybody is making their money. Everybody is doing well. I don't buy this negative vibe. I think it's just a couple of people who, just feel like, hey, I should be in the main event. And, just like Dana Brooke always thought that it was her time and she should be a champion. No, you're not. I think all of the bigger names know where their role is. I think WWE, Triple H probably does a spectacular job of that. Make sure that everybody knows their spot in the company. And again, I think what a lot of fans missed the boat on, and I'll tell you one thing that I loved about Rock last night, and I've been saying this for the last couple of weeks, but one of the things I think fans missed the boat is they weigh too much on somebody winning a belt and somebody main eventing WrestleMania. When people are getting paid millions of dollars and they're winning matches, they're losing matches, not everybody who signs a contract, I have to have a winning record, I need to main event this, or I need a championship. Wrestling fans have that mindset, but these wrestlers, they understand, look, I'm getting paid a lot of money to be right now a B+ player. And that's not a bad thing. So the idea, Drew McIntyre, he storms out of Busted Open. He storms out of the parking lot. He storms out. He stormed out because he probably had to take a shit. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't storm out in anger. Like, everybody makes you believe that people are disgruntled and this happens, and LA Knight and Drew McIntyre got into, a shoot fight and during SmackDown. Like, based on what? These are professionals. They are getting paid millions. We are fans. We need to remember our role. And I think one thing is for certain. Blazing Bolt says that John Cena sold his soul for a great cause to the final boss. Can we finally stop this narrative that's been pushed for a year that The Rock is so like steroid-induced, unhinged maniac that will go into WWE and TKO Group Holdings and turn everything fucking upside down to feed his ego? The Rock is where he is because he is a very intelligent man. And I'm not the biggest Rock fan, but this narrative that, Rock last year was going to ruin Cody's 2-year storyline, and Rock was going to win the belt and retire, and Rock was going to do this, and Rock didn't care about anybody in the company but himself, and Rock did this.
Well, DT, I'm sorry to cut you off, but in fairness and chat, some of you guys can tell me if this is why. Rock cultivated that reputation from one franchise that he was part of and kind of took over, Fast and the Furious.
Right.
Look at his feud with a couple of the stars from that who don't even talk to him anymore. Not just Vin Diesel, but the other, the black dude who doesn't like Rock either. I can't remember his name. The guy from Baby Boy. Tyrese Gibson, is that his name? Then you got Rock's behavior. Some of you guys here are big comic book guys and comic book movie guys. Rock's whole involvement in Black Adam was a fucking disaster.
Yeah.
Which ruined any potential that movie had. A lot of people say I was going to suck anyway, but Rock really roughshotted his way in that film set on Black Adam and got a very bad reputation from Fast and Furious set and the Black Adam set. So I think it carried over into wrestling because a lot of wrestling fans are comic book fans and Marvel and DC fans. I think
they played off on it in wrestling because you're comparing a movie company to corporation.
No, but I think but throwing his weight around. Like, in other words, hey, threw his weight around with Vin Diesel. Why won't he throw his weight around with fucking Cody Rhodes? Vin Diesel's a much bigger star than Cody Rhodes
and Nick Khan and Triple H, and I think he's got too much respect for those guys. He's got no relationship, no personal connections to those movie companies. So he's like, hey, I know what's best for this movie company. But when it comes to Nick Khan, Ari Emanuel, and Triple H, I think Rock is a team player. I always felt that.
Yeah, no, he probably is. I mean, listen, you get, reputations carry with you from stuff that you're involved in, and sometimes it carries over to other things that you do. I mean, and not everybody likes everybody. It's like in podcasting. Someone could be like a prick in the podcasting world, and in their real life job, they could be aces, and no one have a bad thing to say about them.
Yep.
But I think that sometimes and also it's like anything else. It's like, sometimes the fans, just want to be able to relate. I think that's why Stone Cold is the bigger star. And even though Stone Cold is a very wealthy man, again, I think people will agree with this. When you see Stone Cold Steve Austin on Instagram playing with his cats and his chicken and being in shorts and a shirt and doing his own manual labor and mowing his lawn and stuff, he's still the everyman. No matter that he's a multi-millionaire, famous wrestler, drives himself everywhere, doesn't have a limo drive him around. Austin drives himself. You know what I'm saying, DT?
Yeah.
And anything he puts on Instagram, here's me with my dog. We're Rock. Everything is always glitzy and glamour. And look at my muscles. And look at me working out in the gym. And look at me. And look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. And I think that sometimes fans get a little disconnected to Rock. He's a little unrelatable, I think, for people sometimes. And I think that's why Stone Cold is always the bigger star, because I think he's just relatable. It's not a white-black thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of a man of the people thing.
Yeah.
And Stone Cold is a multimillionaire, but for some reason we look at Steve and we're like, Steve's like this guy drives a truck and lives on a ranch.
Yeah, we're talking about wrestling fans, guys, and not talking about
wrestling fans. Yeah, no, we're talking about wrestling fans. How wrestling fans see them. That's why wrestling fans flipped the fuck out when he fought Kevin Owens. Like, that's perfect. You know, it was perfect.
Yeah.
And Austin didn't do anything much more than throw on the fucking Austin 316 shirt, the shorts, the boots, and show up. That's all he had to do. Where Rock, big fancy entrance, changed the music. Look at the outfit Rock was wearing last night, straight out of Elvis's closet. I mean, it said Rock across the neck piece. Don't get me wrong; it's a cool outfit. It's like a jumpsuit from that guys like Prince would have wore back in the day. But that's what Rock is. So people see Rock as an overly rich, fancy guy who, quite honestly, left WWE very quickly to go to the movies.
Yeah.
In 2002. And that's why he became Hollywood Rock, which a lot of people say is their favorite version of Rock. But Rock is, dare I say, in the global scope, much more known as a mainstream celebrity than he is a wrestler anymore. Yeah. That's just because of all the things he's achieved. He's been out of wrestling way more than he's been in it. True. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not the biggest Rock fan. Like, if you ask me to choose between Austin and Rock, I'm Austin all the way. But I always say even Rock is kind of like the Elvis, like he's this special talent. But I tell you something, one thing I say, after Rock's promo game, the last 2 times he was in the ring, I'm not so sure Rock's promos are flawless anymore. I think he's right. Right, guys. He's not on point like he used to be, and he's kind of confusing and. The touching of Cody's face and the homoeroticism of the.
I want it all.
I want it all. I almost thought he said he wanted Cody's dick. Someone was yelling that from the crowd. He wants the D. I don't know if you guys heard that. It's pretty funny. So yeah, I mean, but this is where he's at now. I mean, Rock's an older guy, and he's making the most of what he can do, and he is on the board. That's legitimate. That's part of the storyline. Listen, Vince don't own the company back in the day. You know. I mean, but technically, Rock is really not Cody's boss, technically.
No, he's got voting power, obviously, but
right, but he's not. Yeah, he's not Cody's boss. Really. No. Yeah, he's not Cody's boss.
Rojo Bear says that John Cena needs to beat the shit out of R-Truth. I think we all agree on that.
Who needs to beat the shit out of
John Cena? He's got to beat the shit out of R-Truth. R-Truth's got to come out and confront John Cena, and John Cena's got to beat the balls off of him.
Oh my God! R-Truth's gonna bring his childhood picture books when he was growing up, and he was a big fan of John Cena.
My childhood.
Yeah, he's got to be. Yeah, he does that. Again, they got to make sure they don't make him a cool heel, kind of like what happened to Roman Reigns, because Reigns I think became a cool heel because the faction was cool, the bloodline was badass, and once they added Sami, I mean, it was a heel faction, but it was a joke to think that they were going to get booed out of any building. And Reigns became so unbeatable, even if he needed help to win, regardless. It was like, listen, Flair needed help to win from 84 to 87. I saw a lot of those matches. Flair needed help to beat Ricky Morton on TV in the NWA. So, when people say, well, Reigns had a lot of outside interference, so did Flair. During the Horsemen, Tully Blanchard, Baby Doll, and J.J. Dillon interfered in 9 out of 10 of his matches.
Yeah.
Ask anybody old school who's in this chat. I'll be like, yep, that's truth. Well, that's totally the truth.
Taking a page from Hulk Hogan, I got to do it. Ron Killings, he coming for you. Rock Killings, he coming for you. Ron Killings. I seriously, I want everybody in unison going, Ron Killings, he coming for you. Tim Dobbs, what do you think about Cena taking the title at 41? And giving Cody Rhodes another year-long build, because Cody chasing seems to be, like Dusty. Chasing a title for Dusty was much better than being a champion. My only problem with that is, I don't know how you feel, but Cena's retiring at the end of the year, so there's going to be a title change.
No, and Cody has a segues into a ready-made, not even a feud, but a battle with CM Punk that's already out there on the table. That's next. Now you want to talk about who's next for Cody. After he gets the belt back from Cena, you're right, DT, I would say at SummerSlam. His next opponent will be CM Punk at the 5. Well, he'll have opponents in the interim, but CM Punk will be that guy for the following year. He can stay injury-free.
Yeah, I see Cody winning it towards the end of the year. I think you close out 2025 where it's almost like all is good in the WWE again. Then again, people still want to see Randy Orton be John Cena's final opponent. Who is going to be John Cena's final? That doesn't mean that John Cena must have that championship till the end of the year. I don't know. I think this all depends on John Cena winning the belt at 41. Do we all agree if John Cena doesn't win it at 41, he ain't winning a world championship this year? Like,
I agree.
You if you're gonna have the biggest heel turn since 1996, if he's winning a belt, you have to do it at the biggest stage of them all, WrestleMania. I don't think you saved that for Saudi or anything.
No, and then can you picture the Raw the next night, the promo that Cena cuts on Raw, and it writes itself. I mean, there's no way that John doesn't walk out of there with the belt, whether it's by hook or crook, whether it's by help from The Rock, Travis Scott, fucking whoever they bring out there. It could be Mel Gibson in his corner or whoever.
Yeah.
John Cena, who knows? John Cena being a Hollywood guy, they can incorporate some other Hollywood star there to be in Cena's corner. And I dare I say, Cody will not be by himself. I think the Shield, as in Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, will show up even after beating the shit out of each other. They're going to put their things behind them and get behind Cody because they know that they both want to stop Cena and The Rock. And it doesn't matter The Rock. And then it could set, by the way, DT, there's your segue for Reigns and The Rock. Reigns sided with Cody. Next year, him and his cousin finally do the dance that they've been talking about since they were kids.
Yeah, I think it is.
You
have to have Rock and Roman at least once. It has to happen. I mean, there's
no
reason why I can't.
The precursor is Reigns siding with outside the family.
Yeah.
And that's what it's going to be. And that gives, because Cody needs some real power in his corner. And a guy like LA Knight, that's not good enough. You need top guys. You need Reigns, or you need Rollins, or you need both. And what a motherfucker that would be if they both came out in their Shield costumes. Talk about popping the crowd. Yeah. That would be amazing.
Yeah. Lost but found. I don't know if you were talking about Cena before. I think you were. But he says that Cena's got to get the NXT Ciampa heat. No music till WrestleMania. Cena's got to come out to his music because we're going to get again, John Cena sucks. John Cena sucks.
And they want that. And they want that.
Yeah,
they want that.
Absolutely want that.
They want that. WWE wants that. They don't, trust me, they don't want him to be the cool heel. They want him to be booed.
Yeah.
And he will be. And whoever said it, I don't know if you're the one who said it, DT, or someone in the chat, attacking a guy like Ron Killings is a great way to go. Because, Ron Killings always has this cutesy connection to John Cena, and everybody loves Ron. And Ron will do anything and get over, one of the few. John's got to do some heinous shit to some people, and Ron would be the first.
Yeah.
And there's probably some other people back there that he can F with or insult or degrade or call them a nobody and blah, blah, blah. He'll never be anything in the business. And that's where you get the real heat. Like, oh, what a prick Cena is. Fuck this guy, blah, blah, blah. That's what I mean. The last thing they want to do is make him a cool heel. They don't want to do that.
Yeah. Big shout out to Hollywood 55. Just very, very thankful for your generosity. You sent us a 100 spot earlier. No question.
Thank you, dude.
No questions,
so
no
much.
Comments.
Really?
Just wanted to send a little gift, and thank you, Hollywood, for that. That was very, very kind of you. Much appreciated, my friend.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I hope you're enjoying the show. And again, for those that are tuning in a little bit later, at 8:05 p.m., I honestly thought I was going to be riding the solo because Kev was under the weather. And I started doing the show about 15 minutes in, and I hear Kev in my headset going, you there? And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I look at the chat room and everybody's like, there's no audio, there's no video. And for the first 15 minutes of me doing a solo show, I forgot to start the stream. So I caught it, the audio. I have the recording, but the video, I never started it. So it worked out because the stream we started from the beginning, which was great.
And it's probably good. It's probably good my audio didn't go through.
Oh, yeah.
I cut a promo on somebody that, my God.
Let's put it like this. Let's just change the word rock to somebody else in the chat room who didn't show respect to my co-host, who is dealing with some very, very serious health issues and is here, laboring through it. So everybody enjoys a great show. So that person, anyone out there that thinks that they're cool, I say this to you.
Hey, Rock, go fuck yourself.
And that's why Cody, you see in a snap of a finger, Cody is now this monster baby face again. All he had to do was tell Rock, go fuck yourself. And
I've never heard a full F come through on a wrestling PLE or pay-per-view in my life.
You know what I compare it to? I compare it to a PG movie that has almost no expletives, but they'll drop maybe 1 or 2 F-bombs, or there'll be like one brief little nudity segment, and it's like, okay, we could still keep it PG, but yeah, this is the only curse you're going to be able to say the whole night. That's how I looked at it. Plus, it happened at the end of the show, so it was a little bit later in the evening.
No, and also I want to acknowledge, because I know I see everything scrolling by, and I'll of course acknowledge it at the end of the show too. Thank you to everybody who is sending me well wishes and stuff. The last thing I wanted to do, even though I was feeling sick, I'm like, I was telling my friend, her as baseball chickie on Twitter, Carolyn, I was like, I got to make the show. And she's even like, if you don't feel good, Anthony, you'll understand, blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, I got to do this show. I can't. I've been making the shows. I did Soup. I had a great show Thursday. I had a great show DT last Monday. I don't want to have a setback. It's like, well, you can have your good days and bad days. And, the medication's kind of turning on you, and it's just a bad day. But I was just like, I got to make it. And I was in so much pain. My stomach was killing me. Hey, I don't want to get on the show and then have a DT. Yeah, edit that part out where I get off the chair and throw up all over the place. And knowing me, I'd forget to turn off my mic, and you'd hear the whole disgusting.
Oh, I'd amplify it. I'd amplify.
You probably amplify it. It'd probably be on the next shirt. But I felt so fucking sick, and I felt like I didn't want to let anybody down. And I appreciated everybody saying, because and I feel bad that everybody's kind of worried about me. Listen, I'm worried about me too. It's one of those things that it's. DT understands it, especially as an older guy. You're gonna have setbacks in these situations when you're dealing with cardiac and heart and hypertension and stuff. It's not a quick fix. Like, take this medicine and you're 100%. It's a work in progress. And on days that your body turns on you, and you wake up and you feel nauseous, or you feel lightheaded, and you feel really, I was feeling so shitty today. I mean, I really was feeling bad. Last night watching the pay-per-view, I was all right. I woke up this morning, it was a different story. I don't know what happened. And that's the frustration part of it. I can't go to bed anymore, DT, and go, oh, tomorrow's going to be a great day. You know what I mean? I get up, I'm like, uh-oh. Yeah, my feet hit the floor. I'm like, I feel dizzy. Why do I feel dizzy? And I'm like, I got to throw up. Let's run to the bathroom. And it's just like, and I'm not acclimated to this kind of stuff. I'm not accustomed to this kind of stuff. Not that I was like Mr. Top Health my whole life. I had my things here and there, but nothing like is what has hit me since February started. And it's like almost like it's my own self turned on me. And, I'm trying to right the ship, but it's such a work in progress that I feel bad that people are like, but I just heard Kev on Patreon. He was fine. What happened? Yeah. So I just don't want there to be any confusion. So you guys understand.
You sound great right now. I just, I want you to.
No, I appreciate. I appreciate it, but I want everyone to understand that there's going to be those ups and downs, and it's not that the setback is just the body itself. It's not that I'm doing anything different or wrong. It's when they're giving you went from 2 medications to like 9. It takes some getting accustomed to, and sometimes again, you ain't feeling well that day. I mean, people who have illnesses or afflictions or have conditions or get conditions, whether you have a blood disease, you have something with your heart, you have something with your liver, your kidneys, your body turns on you sometimes, and the only reason to make it to a show, so you guys know from here going forward, would be if I truly can't get to this desk and give you the show that you deserve. And I don't want you guys to feel like you hear me in pain, where you feel bad, and I don't want Anthony to feel bad. Yeah. So that's the only way I would miss a show, is if I know I can't verbally do the gig where you guys are like, Kev sounds off, he sounds bad. Because then if that makes me more upset. Yeah. And then that stresses me out, and then I worry about how I'm being perceived by you guys, because you're like, Kev sounds weird. Like, then you'll write me and go, dude, you sound a little off tonight. You're right. Yeah. And I'm like, and it's going to be, and I know
everybody be safe. Well, better be safe. There's always tomorrow.
I know everybody
there's always
means
tomorrow.
Well. Yeah, there's always tomorrow. I know everybody means well, and thank God I got a good partner here who's looking out for me. And again, you've had your own challenges too and stuff, and it's a fucking son of a bitch, man. Yeah. It really, because we're not 35 anymore. We don't bounce back as quickly anymore.
I know. So trust me, I think about it a lot more than people think. Believe me.
No, I know, dude. I was depressed all day today. I was feeling like I got to do the show. I got to make the show, and not that I got to do the show. Like I got to do the show. I want to do the
Yeah,
show.
you want to do it, and
You
you
know what I'm
just feel
saying? I want to
frustrated like
do
you
it.
can't. Yeah, but
Right, and I
hey,
feel frustrated. So I'm
yeah,
glad that I made it. And if I'm coming off good, even if I'm masking it and I'm still kind of uncomfortable, good. Then I'm doing my job. I almost feel like the way wrestler ball players got to tape it up and show up hurt and stuff. But sometimes when you're dealing with some major organs in your body, you can't just tape it up, man.
yeah,
I
yeah.
can't.
It is true,
I can't do
man.
duct tape around my blood pressure. So.
I
But thank you everybody for giving a shit because it means a lot. I've read all your comments and it's actually almost brought me to tears because I sometimes forget how much these shows mean to you guys and how you depend on hearing me and Anthony because it's part of your week and your
yeah.
weekend. So it's part of mine too. So
Yeah.
thank you again, everybody.
Hollywood 55 has been tuning in for 18 years, man. That's just tremendous,
Wow.
man. Just much appreciated, and hopefully we'll be able to do it for another 18. Could you imagine us doing it at 73 years old, 74?
Dude, I'm hoping we can do it for another 18 days. But
man.
we get the rest of 18 weeks. We get to WrestleMania.
I know, right? But Hollywood, thank you again, man. Much appreciated.
Thank you again. Thank you, Hollywood. Thank you.
Don, he emailed us some artwork. I will definitely check it out after the show is over. I haven't checked my emails in about a week. I mean, just been totally fell behind there. But as soon as the show's over, and if it's something we could use, yeah, I'll use it tonight, man. I mean, the thumbnail we have right now is just a placeholder, just to get through tonight. But always looking ahead. Trust me, the CM Punk Rock thumbnail that we thought we were going to use for the night ended up not being good. Even though there's another thumbnail I'm going to share in a little bit. But thank you for that. Much appreciated.
Nice.
Let's see. We got another get well. Also, David Thuring. Thank you very much, David. He says, "Hope you get better soon, Kev. Respect to you for powering through this. Much love."
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. That's trying my best, dude. Thank you.
Yeah. So, as far as the other participants, Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest, both of us, Kev and I, said that they were pretty much going to eliminate each other. Not exactly the way we expected it, but Damian Priest basically rolled up Drew McIntyre after Drew McIntyre hit that Claymore that we weren't expecting. Basically, I think if I remember correctly, what had happened was, John Cena hit the AA to Logan Paul, and then no, I think it was John Cena hit the AA to Logan Paul. Drew McIntyre hit the Claymore, I think, to Cena, and then Damian Priest rolled him up out of nowhere, and Drew McIntyre got eliminated, and in a matter of 60 seconds, he attacks Damian Priest. So Damian Priest was incapacitated, and then Damian Priest got eliminated. So both of them, it looks like their match is going to be their match at WrestleMania. Logan Paul, I think that's the wild card because we already talked about Seth and we already talked about Punk. But Logan Paul, I mean, what do we think is going to happen with Logan Paul at WrestleMania?
That's a good question. Normally I would have said Punk, but I'll decide to go with Punk and Logan Paul and have straight up one-on-one Reigns versus. I'm trying to think of a top guy either coming out. I mean, my God, I hope it's not Goldberg. From my lips to God's ears, guys, watch, it's Goldberg. Now, could someone be returning from AEW coming here? Aleister Black, Miro. But is that not big enough for Logan Paul? Logan Paul would probably mock them and go, "Who are you?" You know what I mean?
A lot of people
it's got to be. It's got
AJ Styles.
AJ Styles. That's a great one. And as a matter of fact, guys, that's whoever said that. That's very good dream booking because those two match up very well together. Those guys match up very well together. Both high flyers. I mean, that would be a classic, I think. AJ versus Logan Paul, I think, would be a real good one. That's not bad. And AJ seems to be a babyface again. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
AJ's wrestling as a babyface.
Certainly feels
now.
that way.
Yeah, and he looks like AJ has given up on his Ultimate Warrior dreams.
Yeah,
and is not as big and broken out. But he's not pockmarked face anymore. He was starting to get the back knee stuff. That little Ultimate Warrior look. I was waiting for him to put tassels on last time he was here.
Before we move on from everything we said about Cena, did you notice that when Cena had the STF on CM Punk, he was yelling out, "I'm sorry," because Seth Rollins hit Punk with the cheap shot, and then that gave Cena the upper hand. And Seth Rollins seemed to have enjoyed CM Punk getting eliminated, even though Cena won. But I didn't know.
Oh, he totally enjoyed it. Yeah,
he enjoyed it. So, is Cena and listen, for everyone out there that's saying that John Cena is now Break-A-Wish, I know this is not popular for some of you, but I got news for you. In my opinion, I think John Cena granted 35 million wishes by turning heel, because people for years and years and years, Cena's got to turn heel. He's got to turn heel. Now in the final year, John Cena gives in and says, "Yeah, I'll turn heel." Do you think, before we move on a little bit to some of the other matches, because we're not going to, spend a crazy amount of time here tonight. We got a show tomorrow, as long as you're feeling up to it. But do you think it's possible that the reason why Cena was willing to go with this was because, if you look at WWE's demographic, they still have kids, obviously. I mean, they still have families. And I still think that John Cena is still going to be, look, I'm not turning my back on the kids. So I think the kids are safe with this. But do you think that because WWE's demo is shifting with the social media influencers and, the more mainstream entertainment, and it's not just hip hop just happens to be the biggest music, genre of today, that maybe that demo is not as big anymore for Cena? So by having him turn, now everybody seems to be into it.
Yeah.
I don't think that kid demographic is what it used to be. It might be even a little bit passé, as Vince used to say.
DT, I believe the children are our future.
Teach them well and let them lead the way.
Teach them well. Show them all the beauty they possess inside.
Well, why don't I just say keep them inside? I don't know. I think I don't know the lyrics so well. I don't know what currency this is, but Vengeance FC, thank you very much for the 100 spot. Much appreciated, my friend. Thank you very, very much. No question, no comment, just showing love to the show. And trust me, we really appreciate it more than you know.
Shout out to AEW Neckbeards who's in the chat.
Oh yeah, I listen. I'm always watching his thumbnails. He's got some good shit. Actually, I think he actually posted this earlier, and I stole it. I'm not going to deny.
Really?
I think he posted this Make-A-Wish with John Cena and a very young Tony Khan.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Tony Khan looks so much like that fucking Harold Ramis. No, wait, is that his name?
Harold Ramis from the director from Ghostbusters. I mean, from Ghostbusters.
No. The who is Honey, I Shrunk the Kids? Dark Helmet.
Oh no, he looks like Rick Moranis.
Yeah,
Rick
he looks like if Rick Moranis and who is the Fly again?
Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum. He looks like a combination of those two guys. He looks
he does like Rick Moranis. He does.
He does. So, much love. Carlos Rivera became a member of the DTKC family just now. So much love to you.
Thank you, Carlos.
What match you know what? Let's just briefly talk about Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus defeating Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. I loved their outfits. They had the Canada colors, Toronto teams. What I found interesting was Trish was mostly kicks, some forearms, she had to do her signature spots, but I noticed there was definitely some miscommunication with Trish a couple of times. And I noticed at the very end of the match when Trish she went under the corner and, Tiffy is like, she knows that Candice LeRae is going to get dumped over the top and then Tiffany's going to do her signature moonsault. And she's like kicking Trish Stratus off of the apron, like, you know, she's like,
she was doing it several times. She was kicking her out of the ring. It was very noticeable. I'm surprised the camera stayed on it. You know, Trish is a veteran. She's the one who's supposed to know where she's at in the ring at all times. But I guess Trish forgot a cue. And I know Tiffany was going to get up to do the moonsault. God forbid she falls. She'll land on Trish outside. But she was kicking Trish out like Trish was her opposition and not her partner.
Yeah.
That was very strange. Did you guys see that in the chat? The way she was rolling Trish Stratus out? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
wow.
I thought the match was good. I thought Trish looked excellent. This was the first
49. My God, she looks. I know. Listen, Trish has a lot of smoke and mirrors, hair extensions, and you know, body cinchers and stuff. But listen, for 49, she looks fantastic. I mean, you know, just she's old enough to be Tiffany's mom, literally, but she hung in there pretty well. She didn't look like the old woman, and Tiffany was the young buck. They looked pretty good together, but you know, not a bad team. But I don't know if I want to see this happen a lot. You know?
No, I mean, I don't think Tiffany Stratton was trying to sabotage Trish. It was a case that she didn't want Trish to get injured, and she didn't want the spots to get screwed up. And Trish just seemed like she was just a little bit off. You know, she seemed a little bit off. You know, the match was okay. I mean, I will say this: if people go back and watch it, Tiffany Stratton got a much bigger pop than Trish Stratus. And I was actually
weird. Trish is from there. It's so weird.
It was very strange. And I actually wrote it down when I heard it, and I played it back to make sure. And I was like, oh, that seems, you know, she got a nice pop, but it was nowhere near the level of Tiffany Stratton. I think the current WWE universe has moved on from Trish Stratus. Like, okay, you know, like with the internet, you can, you know, you see Trish online and she's posting pictures. It's like, I really don't feel the need to like see her in a match anymore. I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, this is it for Trish after this. I mean, I'm sure she'll stick around for WrestleMania, but you know,
even though it's her hometown, maybe they see her too much, and sometimes the hometown thing, guys, is not all it's cracked up to be. I've had bands do homecoming shows in their hometown and stuff, and sometimes the fanfare is kind of so-so. It's not like, even if there's a lot of people there, the claps are like smattering. And I would even look at, you know, no names mentioned, but you know, New York bands coming home from tour and they're doing their final show in New York, and you would think like, yeah, our boys are back home. But I guess maybe you see somebody so much, you know, DT, after a while, it's like, and Trish is out and about on the town in Toronto. She has a aerobic studio and stuff. So maybe she's one of the people, so to speak, too much, that they don't really look at her celebrity anymore, which is not a bad thing. You know, like, you know, Trish seems to be on TV a lot, and she's always in the spotlight. I don't think it's like they resent her or something or don't appreciate her. I just think that you're right, DT, they've moved on to other people.
Yeah, you know? I think the nostalgia factor is fans are not into it like they used to. And I think, you know, that's also on WWE because WWE just, I think, waited too long to celebrate some people. And I'll tell you this much, you know, if you really want to troll fans, you have Hogan in the camp of Cena and Rock.
Oh God!
Could you imagine that? That would be awesome.
I have a feeling Canadians would cheer for Hogan for some reason. I don't know why. They seem to love him.
They were booing whoever that girl was that sung the Star Spangled Banner in Old Canada yesterday. They were booing the fucking USA.
Not really. There was a couple of people who did text me from there, friends of ours, who were at the arena, and said it wasn't all to do about nothing. It was just not even half the crowd. It just looked like it was, but that crowd was not political. It wasn't like LA on Hogan. It wasn't anything really like that. But one guy who did take offense to it was Pat McAfee.
Yes.
You know, he healed it up on the crowd.
Yeah.
He was like, booing my country. What's with this place? Like, you know, it's like, you got to be kidding. You got to be kidding.
You think any of it has to do with what happened with Trump and Zelensky this week? I mean, we're not talking politics.
No, I don't think I don't think it has anything to do with Zelensky. I think that has to do with the tariffs that were threatened against Canada, and the vice versa, and the back and forth with the tariffs and shit. Canada and Canadian Prime Minister, or the Prime Minister to be, and Trump were going at it over tariffs. If they don't do this, they're going to do that. No, I don't think anything to do with Zelensky. I think that's play into a couple weeks ago. They had a little tete-a-tete back and forth over tariffs and things like that.
Yeah,
but usually wrestling fans don't get involved in nonsense like that.
I mean, and I just posted a Photoshop picture. Something that's not Photoshop is this picture that Liv Morgan posted today. Oh my God, talk about somebody who got battered, and it wasn't just the whip of Bianca Belair's hair. If some of you are just listening to this, you got to go online and look at Liv Morgan's social media account. If you took a shot for every bruise that she's got on her arms right now, you would be blitzed beyond belief. She got the shit knocked out of her. Oh my God. And she's very lucky that she was in a match yesterday and not like out on a date, because people would have that looks like domestic abuse, man. That is fucking bad.
She put in a good performance last night. I actually thought she was kind of the MVP. Tell me if you guys agree with me in the chat. Liv Morgan, without Raquel, without Dom, on her own, she'll be fine. I think we're all getting a little bit sick of her with the Judgment Day. But what I like is that on her own, she's a viable act, and that she can go, and she doesn't need outside interference or Dom to get her heat or to get her cheers. So I think that was an important performance. Triple H made a comment on the podium during the what do you call it? Not the schmaz. What do you call it?
The media scrum. Yeah, press conference.
The media scrum. He was saying how proud he was of Liv Morgan. Let's talk about the game, the masterclass that she put on, from her offense to defense, on her own, not needing a faction to interfere for her.
Yeah.
I agree. I said, Liv is the real deal. She is. I think she just gets overshadowed. Judgment Day's run its course, much like a lot of the factions, LWO, Final Testament, all these factions are either being dismantled or they're ending altogether. And I think what last night showed me is that Liv could still be a player on her own. That she's not completely reliant on Raquel Rodriguez and Dom Mysterio, that she's more than that. And that was important for her to show that. But Bianca, if you want to talk about the women, because people want to talk about the attack.
Oh, yeah.
But Jade Cargill, Jade was great. I mean, did anybody become a fan of Jade Cargill last night who's listening to this right now?
Yeah,
did anybody love her presentation last night? The way she came out badass. She came out badass. Even her kicks and her punches were on point. She looked like she was hating Naomi for real. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I liked about it.
It was Naomi and Liv to open it up, and before they could even start, here comes Jade Cargill, and Liv thinks that Jade is gonna wail on her because the cage was not closed yet,
and she's like, I didn't do it. I didn't. Do it.
Yeah, and Jade Cargill beat the fuck out of Naomi, and let me tell you something. Naomi sold it like $1 trillion, but she did. The thing that I loved more than anything, and there were some great moments where, they started brawling right by Alexa Bliss's pod, and Alexa Bliss has got this wild look on her face, like scared. But I loved when Jade, turned to Naomi and fucking started wailing on her. They made sure it was right in front of Bianca Belair's pod. And Bianca Belair, and she looked goofy because she kept those feathers on. If you saw her entrance, she had these big, like a feather jacket. She had it on inside the pod. But when Jade started beating the shit out of Naomi, Bianca's fucking screaming and losing it. And I tell you, there's some people out there that think, a little conspiracy theory, that maybe Bianca flipped out as much as she did because maybe Bianca was the one that actually attacked Jade and somehow set up Naomi, and it backfired. I don't think so, because how would you set up Naomi? You know what I mean? Like, the video can't be doctored. Obviously, Jade Cargill saw a video that made it clear cut it was Naomi. I don't think it's that deep. I think the reason why people are saying that is because with Bianca versus Rhea, who's the heel, who's the baby face? I don't think either one is going to be a heel in this. I don't think
No.
we're getting a major heel turn from Bianca Belair, but I love
No,
the
it's
little.
pick your poison. It's pick your poison.
Yeah. But what was your take on that yesterday? I mean, I thought about you, and I got to be honest with you. I'm putting the thumbnail up. I don't know if you could see it right now, Kev, but this thumbnail that I have up right now with Naomi,
I see it.
Last Legend, and Jakar Jackson. If people go on Twitter, you'll see a couple of geniuses last night and this morning that said, "Oh, I have an idea. They should have Naomi align with Jakar Jackson and Last Legend." Or let them be revealed as the attackers. And there's one social media account that I actually put the show date. And yeah, I get it. Not everybody online tunes into us. But when people do tune into us, now you understand the difference between us and everybody else out there. We say it a month and a half ago, and it takes people a month and a half to figure it out. And with all due respect, if people listen to a certain podcast that has two hosts and one is, Hall of Famer and, was talking about all these wild ideas about the Elimination Chamber, go listen to that podcast. That podcast came out 6 days after us. And some of the things they said was really, really strangely word for word. Some of the things that it was just kind of bizarre, and people brought it to my attention. And I'm not going to say if it's Dave LaGreca or not. Let him be the sacrificial lamb here. But I found it cute because some of the accounts 3,000-4,000 likes, and I'm like, yeah, Kev brought this up like 6-7 weeks ago. But
I knew that was going to happen, and it'll happen, even more so, because there's even some people like, I had mentioned this a couple weeks ago, and I always do like sometimes though in the chat where someone out of the blue would be like, yeah, the Downtown Kevin Castle show said this like in December. So it's like, and the funny thing is we have the proof that we did too. It's not like DT can't go in the files and post, but it's a rub because, everyone's ego won't allow them to say that they, I heard it from those show. I have no problem saying, yeah, I heard such and such say this. Even my brother, I'll say, yeah, I heard Draper mention this. That actually ended up being true. Again, last night I got Punk wrong. They went with John Cena, totally wrong. But I just knew when she was going, even after Liv, I'm like, she's going to attack Liv, and Liv didn't even fucking do it. But when she went after Naomi, I felt so justified. Did I think that Bianca was? No, Bianca's not in on it. And also, if you guys watched the after show, she did an interview with the Roundtable, and Bianca was totally babyface. And they're not going to do that twice. They just did it with Cena. Bianca's not going to do a Cena now, and they're basically female version of John Cena. The biggest, by the way, Bianca's the most requested Make-A-Wish woman on the roster is Bianca. It's not Charlotte Flair. It's not Becky. It's not Bayley. You know who sick kids want to see, guys? Bianca Belair. Okay, so Bianca Belair is not turning heel. They're not doing that again with someone else. They just did that with Cena. They're not going to copy it with the females now. It's going to be Naomi. Naomi is jealous from day one. She was there before both girls. The story writes itself. She comes back. She's the third wheel. The only reason she gets a championship is because she had to put Jade Cargill out of the picture because Bianca was obsessed with her, forgot who her first homegirl was. She got all enamored with Jade Cargill, and it's a jealousy angle. Yeah. And then Naomi's like, I got my own friends now who got my back, and I got people who are bigger and stronger than you and Jade. Her name is Lash Legend, and Lash Legend is bigger and stronger than Bianca. She has her heater, basically, DT, and Lash Legend. And she's got her new Sasha Banks in Jakara Jackson, who is a Sasha Banks doppelganger. You don't, and who's one of Naomi's good friends, by the way? Right. And who's one of Naomi's real life good friends, by the way? Who is she again? Sasha. This is purposeful. Naomi wants this responsibility because she wants to be a lead girl. She can't play third. She doesn't have to play third fiddle anymore. She'll be the lead over and tell Lash and Jakara what to do. So this elevates her because you could say Naomi's such a good sweetheart of a girl. It's not going to work. It'll work. It'll work.
Yep.
It will work.
What did you think of the overall chamber match? I thought Alexa Bliss a little bit muted. Even though she looked fucking great. I think Bayley was very, very muted as well. Roxanne Perez, you could see.
Love
I
her.
mean,
She's great. She's great.
Is she a heel right now or a baby face, or is she just doing it cleaner?
She's female Braun Breaker. She's kind of stuck where she'll fuck with heel. She'll fuck with heels and she'll fuck with baby faces. I thought Roxy. One thing I did also get wrong, but I thought the setup was there. I thought Bianca was so rattled by what happened with her two friends that Bianca would be easily eliminated, thus making Roxanne Perez the winner by all the chicanery that was going on. Because remember, DT, I said there's going to be some fuckery with the trio of the three girls, whether it's Jade, Naomi, Bianca. Naomi starts acting weird to Jade. I mean, something to Bianca. Something was going to go on there, so I got that right. But when she was like beside herself, I'm like, I see what's going to happen. Roxanne's going to roll her up while she's all beside herself, and she's going to get eliminated. But they didn't go that way, so it was interesting. But again, Roxanne put on a nice match. She was one of the MVPs in the match. I personally like her better than Alexa Bliss. I think Liv Morgan will be number 2. I got to be fair. Bayley, to me, DT, is just a non-entity. I don't know. Bayley, to me, is just...
this is something, like... I listen, I'm a fan of Bayley, and I actually still enjoy her doing what she's doing, but she's actually, it seems like she is becoming the new Natty, just not complaining. Like, she is now the aunt. Like for a lot of years, we felt like Natty is the aunt for the women's division. She's just that older person, and it feels like Natty is slowly being phased out. Like, Natty is now she's no longer the aunt. She's now the veteran / Hall of Famer that we're just waiting to retire, with all due respect.
Right.
But I think Bayley is now turning into that aunt where she's the keeper of the women's division. Like, she's the locker room leader. She is not the number one person there, but at any given time she could fill that spot. She is kind of like the multi-tool player, that a baseball team has that could play like 5-6 different positions. She's
basically Joe McEwen.
Yeah. For Mets fans, yeah. That's exactly what she is. I think Bayley, she's a strong enough name that you could put her anywhere in a match, but she's not that one that's going to get the focal point. And the funny thing is, it was only a year ago that she won the Rumble.
Yeah, I just think that, like, much like when you're on a team too long, like, Bayley might have to go eventually to be more appreciated when she comes back. So I'd be surprised if, not even necessarily AEW, maybe she can go, Japan or somewhere else and come back in a couple of years, get in the Hall of Fame. Because I think the whole Four Horsemen women thing is over anyway. Nobody gives a fuck about the Four Horsemen women.
No, that's old news now. I mean, even when the other Four Horsewomen with Ronda Rousey's group. I mean,
oh God.
You look at them. I mean, talk about that. I mean, as far as MMA goes, it's different story. But as far as wrestling goes, I mean, I think all four are a disappointment. Major disappointment.
Yeah, what was it? Marina Shafir. What was the name of the other one? The skinny one who really didn't do much.
Paige Van Zandt.
And the other one, June Lockhart.
Who was it? It was Ronda Rousey, Paige Van Zandt, Marina Shafir, and who's the
skinny
girl?
The skinny girl who looked like she was like in
Jessamine Duke. Thank you,
Jessamine Duke. Yeah, she reminds me of Tiffany Minx, the porn girl from the 80s.
Oh yeah,
Tiffany Minx.
Yeah, I kind of remember her. She had very short hair,
right? Yeah, somewhat. Yeah, she had like the big, but I don't know. Jessamine Duke was just. She seemed like she was in wrestling for a hot minute.
Yeah,
like she was maybe in it as long as maybe Steve McMichael was in it.
Steve McMichael did a lot more. But look, I tell you one stat that kind of surprised me yesterday. Even though she's been in the business a lot longer, Alexa Bliss has more women's world championships than Liv Morgan and Bianca Belair. Wow. I mean, forget Liv Morgan for a second, but even Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair only has 3 women's championships, and Alexa Bliss has 5. That tells you.
It was Shayna Baszler, not Paige Van Zandt.
Oh, Shayna Baszler. I'm sorry. All right. So you know what? Shayna Baszler ended up being the number one in that group. Give Shayna Baszler. Why did I say Paige Van Zandt? I don't know why. I don't know. Sorry. Sorry, but
Paige VanZant.
Listen, I thought the chamber match was good. I think the story was obviously Jade Cargill, Naomi, Bianca Belair, and Liv Morgan. That's really what it came down to. The chamber has got to fill 6 spots. And I don't think, Roxanne Perez, she put on a performance that we'll remember. It definitely is a nice little springboard for her. I think for the other women, you're like, I don't know what Bayley does at WrestleMania this year. She might not even have a match this year, believe it or not, unless they do like Battle Royale or something.
She can work. She can work concessions. Why not?
Well, Bianca Belair wins it. It came down to Bianca and Liv Morgan, and I think that was the way to go. There was one point that if people paid close attention, they wanted us to forget about the moment with Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. Bianca and Liv Morgan were standing on top of one of the pods, and Bianca's hair comes into play, and Bianca is like, you know what? Fuck you. And she just whips Liv Morgan in the midsection, and it was so freaking loud. I mean, I don't know if it was louder than the Sasha Banks, but those commentators kept saying it, loudest ever heard, loudest ever heard. Like they wanted us to forget about the Sasha Banks moment. But I tell you, Liv Morgan put on a great performance yesterday. I think definitely deserving to be mentioned. But Bianca Belair gets it.
Yeah, I would put in pecking order would be Belair, Morgan, and then Perez. Those 3, and then the other girls.
T. Smitty thinks Bianca versus Rhea should be 1-on-1. He also thinks that it feels bigger than Jey Uso versus Gunther. He thinks Bianca should win and then have Rhea get drafted to SmackDown. That's not a bad idea, reuniting the Terror Twins, because Damian Priest, man, doesn't it feel like there is like nothing for him? Does it feel like
he seems a little man without a country. Man without a country.
Yeah, it's just I'm kind of surprised that they're having this much of a tough time to like keep Damian Priest on that level. It just goes to show you that maybe they damaged him a little bit by having him just feuding with the Judgment Day and Dominic Mysterio for so freaking long, Yeah,
no, I agree. I mean, Priest he's a top guy, but not really. He's second shelf on the top tier. Will he make it to the tippy top? Not sure, but he's a player, much like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. I'd put Priest in that category of that second tier of main event or top guys who are eligible or could win a world title. I put Randy Orton in there too. So Randy's out too much to put him at the tippy top.
Oh yeah,
can't trust him.
It seems next.
Yeah, I mean, he gets injured too much. You can't give him can't put a belt on him. You never know what's going to happen with his health.
Yeah, I don't see Bianca Rhea feeling bigger than Jey versus Gunther, but in all fairness, all we had was that brief stare down with Grumpy Cat last night. So we got to give it some time to develop. But just early thoughts. Who would you put over in that match for WrestleMania 41? Would you have Rhea Ripley retain, or do you have Bianca win it?
Not have Bianca win it, get Bianca's solo singles career back on track after spending the last year and a half basically being Jade Cargill's babysitter. That's why I could see why some fans would be like, Bianca would make sense to be a heel. She had to kind of chaperone Jade Cargill, and she had to accept tag team titles, which were worthless, instead of a world title, which is where she belongs. But it was just a sidetrack for Bianca. I mean, she's only 35. She's got plenty of years left. She's not injured. She'll be fine. I would give it to Bianca. Rhea Ripley is not that big anymore. She's not even in the top merch sales anymore. Her popularity is overblown. I always thought so because I have a friend of mine who goes to, because she's a reporter, so I'm not name dropping or anything like that. So I'll just say she's a reporter, and it's not Denise Salcedo, please. But it's someone who's at all those scrums and everything, and likes Rhea, but says the Rhea pops have definitely tapered off. They just have. And she's a big Rhea fan. And she was telling me the same thing. Like, people aren't lining up for the Rhea merch. They really aren't. They're, now that Alexa Bliss is back, the last couple of weeks, they're buying her merch. And, Liv Morgan still sells merch. And but she's not that sensation, I think, that people thought, like, the female Austin, the female Undertaker. Even Undertaker endorsing her on the first Netflix show, it didn't seem to do anything.
Yeah.
I think, again, there's not a lot of depth to Rhea Ripley's character. You guys got to admit, even if you kind of like the pseudo lesbian heavy metal, even though she's straight, but she looks like she swings both ways, which is like a turn on to a lot of male fans.
And female fans.
And female fans to a degree, but much more male fans. Ever since the Dom thing is gone, she's not got a lot to do.
Yeah.
The feud with Liv, we all admit, stunk up the joint. It didn't do anything for anybody. No one here in this chat considered any of their matches their favorites at all. So, I don't know, man. I think go with Bianca. I don't think Rhea's the hot hand anymore.
Yeah.
DT, I got to dip out for 1 second.
Yeah, no problem.
Just take over.
Yeah, Joe Morrison, Bianca versus Rhea should be a good match. Hopefully Rhea gets rid of the Marilyn Manson cosplay makeup soon enough. It makes her look ridiculous. I got news for you. WWE, it's all about the looks, the aesthetics. It's all about the character. And that's what the progression of Rhea Ripley has become. She has become that character that everybody, identifies her with. I don't see her changing her look anytime soon. Yeah, you could tweak something here and there, but that makeup, that just identifies with her, and I don't see that changing. It's overboard. It absolutely is overboard, but it's not something that I think WWE is going to be changing in the very near future. Maybe our outfits get tweaked a little bit, but, to have your own identity in the WWE is not as easy as some may think. Especially if you're just like a typical blonde, you just have a different outfit, or you just change the color of your hair. It's not as easy as you think. And Rhea Ripley, funny thing is, if you ever look at Rhea Ripley and the way that she dresses, because she wears leather and it's black and she wears the boots only give you another extra inch or two. Rhea Ripley's a lot shorter than people would think. She's a lot shorter than people would think. Sometimes people, I think that she's like 6 foot tall or 5'10". She's a lot shorter than people think. Yeah. No, I was just saying, Rhea Ripley, she, I don't think she's going to change her look anytime soon, because it just identifies her so different to everyone else. And she's a lot shorter than people realize. She's like 5'7", 5'8".
Yeah, she's not that big. I think people make like she's like China, but and China wasn't really that big either. I think it's just the illusion. And depending on who they're standing next to,
Shout out to Trez. She's just stopped by. She's in the chat.
Yes. Yeah, I see her.
Yeah, shout out to Trez.
What's up, Trez? What's up, Trez? Speaking of 5'7", 5'8", Trez is like 5'11".
Is she really?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, man. Vance, we should hear something about Cain Velasquez in the next 2 weeks, I think. Give or take a little bit, but next 2 weeks we should hear something about Cain Velasquez. Yeah, they're going to sentence him. They're going to sentence him, and we don't know how much jail time he's going to get. But shout out to Zimpulse. Thank you very much, Zimpulse. He just wanted to thank us for everything that we do. So much love to you, my friend.
Yeah, he's a good dude. Thank you, Zimpulse.
Thank you, Zimpulse. But so Bianca Belair, she will be on Raw Monday night. She will confront Rhea Ripley. We'll probably have to wait until SmackDown to find out about the video footage. I don't think that is going to air on Raw tomorrow. So I expect Bianca Belair to be on SmackDown as well. She'll be this week. I think Bianca will be on both shows. I think she'll be on both shows.
Yeah, again, anything can happen. Let's see if these predictions are right. If not, let's see where they go with it with another way. But I really, really don't think Bianca is behind the Jade Cargill thing.
Yeah. So this leaves one match that we have left. This was the unsanctioned match between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. I tell you, even though the barbed wire chair was very, very, they cut all those barbs so to make sure that nobody got too, seriously injured from it, which is the smart thing to do. But this match, I watched it twice because the first time around, I thought it started coming across like a little bit weak, but then it picked up later on. But they beat the fuck out of each other in this match. And you and I both said that Kevin Owens needed this win. This match by far he needed to win because Kevin Owens, great matches, great feud with Cody, but he kept showing up on the losing end of the stick. This went almost 30 minutes long. They used chairs, they used tables, they used hockey sticks. The ring bell came into play. I mean, Kevin Owens at one point was biting Sami Zayn's nose. They set up two tables and Sami Zayn got thrown off the top rope and did like a flip through two tables. But, the match to me was brutal. It sold it well with the Unsanctioned. What I did find funny about it was that it took like 6 security guards and a bunch of agents, and none of them could control Kevin Owens. But then when Randy Orton came out later on, they only needed like 2 people to like pull somebody apart. Like, it was just funny to see. Or you could even go the opposite. Kevin Owens, needing so many people to pull him back, and Randy Orton shows up at the end, which most of us expected. Are you just surprised because it was unsanctioned? Then why would Randy Orton allow Sami Zayn to get the shit knocked out of him as much as he did, allow Kevin Owens to get the win, and then come out? Like, the only reason why Randy Orton came out is because Kevin Owens exposed the outside padding and was going to do a pop-up powerbomb onto Sami. And, he did the 2 power bombs on the apron, the edge of the apron, and I thought it told an awesome story. I'm a little disappointed this match is not happening at WrestleMania, but now it's obvious we're getting Randy Orton and Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. Randy Orton looked like he did when he left. I mean, he hasn't lost any weight, hasn't gained any weight. He hit a couple of RKOs, teased the punt to the head, which I think we will get at WrestleMania. But what was your take on this match and Randy Orton's return?
I thought it was good. I mean, I like Sami. I'm not the biggest Owens guy. He's okay. He's not one of my favorites. I much more connect and feel for Sami. Like, he's just that guy. I talked about it with Lufisto, who grew up in the business with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, all being from Montreal, Canada. That Sami, and she said, you're right, Sami is definitely more the everyman. Not that Kevin's not a good guy, but it's easier to root for Sami Zayn, and doesn't surprise her that Sami Zayn is a player and everything he does. It seems that anything that, and not that Kevin Owens isn't always involved. I mean, my God, Kevin Owens is in great angles too. But Sami is definitely the sympathetic babyface. They can never flip the script. You guys notice this? They can't turn it around. Even did you guys see when Michael Cole was like, come on, Sami, he was your best friend. Your wives know each other. And even Wade Barrett's like, with all that Kevin Owens has done to Sami Zayn, now you're getting on Sami. This is a unsanctioned street fight, Michael. Because even Michael Cole's, God, that's enough, Sami. I'm like, Michael, we're not buying this. Sami's not the bad guy for getting back at Kevin. He's doing what he's got to do. I mean, Cole was in selling mode for certain people and kissing up to other people.
Yep.
Now, listen, that's the gig. I get it. Sometimes Cole does it good. Sometimes Cole does it annoying. But I thought it was a good unsanctioned match. And I thought Sami, excuse me, guys, he can eat the pin and not be the worse for it, because he's done that his whole career here. And he's still a top ranking guy who is always in the middle of something big. That's why I'm hoping Cross is involved with him, because it only will help Cross. Because you get your star attached to hit your wagon to Sami Zayn, whether you're going to be his friend or the receiving end of a beating from him, it's going to help elevate you. So, but Owens is, I think that Owens might have a belt in his future, where it's been 8 long years. And I think if one of them is going to get a title sooner than the other, it'll be Owens. Yeah, because Owens has done everything it's took. Sami's done everything it's took too, but from a babyface perspective, without losing his integrity. Kevin Owens is willing to do whatever it takes to win, and that's why he'll have gold before Sami.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's interesting that they reminded us that fact yesterday, because when you look at the title picture, other than maybe the United States Championship, like I don't see Kevin Owens, he's not going to win the world title anytime soon. And, nobody's going to team with him either. So it really just comes down to like the United States Championship more than anything. But it does seem like, in 2025, I think most people want to see Kevin Owens win a belt. I think people also want to see Chad Gable win a belt. Just, but there's only so many titles. Everybody thinks there's too many titles. But when you think about it, other than the United States title, there's nothing. There's nothing else that I think could be in Kevin Owens' future. But right now, it looks like Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. And if it's Sami versus Cross, they better start building that up very quickly. Unless Sami does a thing where he's so injured that he can't make WrestleMania this year. But I don't know if Sami would want to do that. I think he'd rather be on the card. I think they'll have the
match. There's 2 nights. Yeah. There's definitely room for it. And I think Cross has got to mock Sami either this Monday's Raw or next Monday. Maybe you keep Sami off of this week's Raw to sell the injuries. And then next week you bring him back and then you have maybe Cross mock him a little bit. Or maybe Cross this week could mock him on social media, just to set up the following week. And then they have a little
bit of
confrontation.
He put up a live thing mocking Sami Zayn's loss last night.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
All right. So, listen, my only problem with Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens at WrestleMania is if you do Unsanctioned with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, don't you kind of feel like you got to do a special stipulation for Randy Orton and Kevin Owens? Like, I don't think Randy Orton wants to make a return after Kevin Owens almost put him out of wrestling just to have a regular match. It feels like there's got to be a stipulation to it. There's got to be something to this match. Maybe no disqualification, which kind of sounds muted in WWE now. They probably go a little bit deeper than that. But then everybody agree that Randy Orton Kevin Owens needs a special stipulation for that match?
I think so. Yeah, I think for sure. For sure.
Yeah. Very quickly, I don't know if people saw this controversy. I could care less about this performer, but I did find it funny. There was a news article that came out that the performer Drake canceled his remaining Australia and New Zealand tour, and he said it was a scheduling conflict. And people pointed out that last night Elimination Chamber, Drake was seen at ringside. So he canceled the remainder of his tour to go to Elimination Chamber.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They didn't show him public. I mean, it looked like a legit picture because you see Elimination Chamber in the background. It looks like he's sitting front row. But that certainly looked like Drake. That looked like Drake.
And he's a big star like Travis Scott. He's a big star.
If he was there, you a little surprised that they didn't mention him? You would have thought they absolutely would have mentioned him. I mean, Drake at the WWE Elimination Chamber.
And correct me if I'm wrong, isn't he from Toronto? So, I mean, why would they mention him?
Yeah, it's a little surprising.
I was surprised when John Mellencamp was there again. That was interesting. Just
yeah, he dressed up as Io Sky.
He was dressed up as Io Sky. I think they'd make a lovely couple, by the way. John
oh my God, I couldn't. Why? I don't know. It's just awful. I mean, that picture of him just said it all. I mean, put on a fake smile. You're on camera, and he just seems like he's like a human rag. Like when it's the time of the month for a woman. Like if you could take that and turn it into a man, you got John Mellencamp. He just comes off as a miserable bitch.
Well, it's funny because then, he was, back, some of you guys are too remember, but Anthony, you might remember, but he was the heir to the throne of Bruce Springsteen. John Mellencamp was the Indiana version of Bruce. The everyman, the working man, ROCK in the USA, Little Pink Houses, Ain't That America. He was Indiana Bruce Springsteen. But, Bruce is a moody guy too, but Bruce was a lot more friendlier when he was younger and jovial. You see him in Dancing in the Dark. But yeah, John, for some reason, always had just a kind of a miserable type of reputation. And it started around the 2000s. He wasn't always like that. So I don't know when he became like that. But it is funny that even in the industry, Sammy Hagar interviewed him one time, and it was like pulling teeth. I mean, John is just not a friendly guy. I don't know what's up with him.
He takes, but he don't want to give.
Yeah, I don't know what's. I like some of his. I like some of his music from back in the day. I like some of
it's
his
not
stuff.
bad. It's a lot of poppy stuff, but it was over. I mean, there's no question he was over. I think it is, and I hate to say it because we're getting up there in age too, but I just think that age is probably just made him very, very bitter. That look, like all my popular stuff is, I look completely different, and now I'm aged, and I just think. He has just gotten very unhappy as he ages. It just feels like he just looks like he's just very bitter about getting old. That's the impression I got from him, especially like when I was looking for thumbnails when we covered it that night, and I was reading some other articles. It's like not a known secret that John Mellencamp has really turned into a bitter bitch the last couple of years. It's not just showing up at a WWE event. He's been a very bitter bitch. So
yeah, he's just kind of a miserable. Speaking of, I just want to mention this, DT, because you know this actor. I mean, what'd you think about the whole Gene Hackman thing and what they're revealing now about them, the wife being mummified for the last few weeks, and they're not even sure when Gene actually died, and they're finding pills and all sorts of weird things all over the house. And people were saying they died of carbon monoxide poisoning. That's out the window, by the way. Nobody died of carbon monoxide poisoning. I think, you know what I think, DT? I think one of them died and they had a pact. Because they took care of each other. They were together for 35 years. And the same thing with the dog. They just had a pact. If one of us goes, it wasn't a Chris Benoit situation. I think it was a thing where maybe she died and Gene couldn't live without her. He's 95. He lost his wherewithal, and he took a bunch of pills and maybe did himself in. And the dog is an older dog. Gene's had the dog for years, and the dog is like their kid, and the dog couldn't survive without them. I don't think it was anything like evil. I think that maybe they had a thing. If I go, you go, we go. That's it. Listen,
disagree.
people do that shit. They do that all the time.
Why I disagree? I'll tell you why I disagree. What I think happened is this, and I'll tell you why I disagree with what you said. I think that Gene Hackman died first. And I think what happened was he fell, had a cardiac arrest, and she ran in the other room to try to get pills or something, and she slipped and fell and, did herself in also. And the only reason why I think it could have happened that way and it wasn't a pact was, why would you keep a dog in a kennel? Like the other two dogs.
There was several dogs, right?
Right, but one dog was in a kennel. Like if you were,
they might have forgotten. Listen, DT, they're old. They might have forgot. And listen, but here's the other thing: why would they tell the gardener, the people who upkept the house and did their lawn and stuff, don't come by for the next couple of weeks? Why did that woman stop calling her mom and her sister? And making like she wasn't going to be in town and stuff. There's something nefarious going on here. Again, it's not some sinister. It's not a Benoit thing, but
no. It could have been.
I think. It could have been. It could have been a pact, and unfortunately, elderly people forget things, and the dog might have been locked up by accident, and they just might have forgot. I mean, the dude is 90. My mom's 81. DT, she forgets everything. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? She forgets literally.
I'm starting to see that with my dad now. Yeah, I am starting to see that with
my mom forgets everything. She's like, we spoke yesterday. I'm like, Mom, we spoke this morning. And she's like, what time? I go, 3 hours ago. And again, like, you laugh a little bit, but you get it's a little disconcerting sometimes, or overly concerning, because so you can only imagine a 95-year-old's state of mind. I mean, just because Gene's out and buying the newspaper and stuff doesn't mean he's in top flight shape mentally. Yeah. He's 95. Same thing. Clint Eastwood is like 95 now too, and he has assistants to get by.
Yeah.
So it's a sad story. I mean, Gene Hackman. I mean, he's been around since the 1960s. He's on that level, like Clint Eastwood, Al Pacino, Robert De Niro. Gene Hackman's up there. He's like Harrison Ford. He's in that category for you young people who don't know a lot about him.
I totally understand why people thought carbon monoxide earlier on, because you're like, what are the chances that both pass away at the same exact time? And, plus the dog was in a kennel, so it was just very sudden. I just have a feeling that he collapsed and she, just out of, desperation tried to get his pills or whatever. And she slipped and, fell and, she's up there in age 2. And unfortunately, we've talked about this in wrestling in the past that, a fall could do you in. We had that infamous conversation about Scott Hall, talking about how you could simply fall, break a hip and die. And then sure enough, I think less than a year later, Scott Hall fell, broke his hip and died. I mean, it's crazy how shit happens like that. But like you said, it's very strange that, they told the Gardners and everything don't show up. But I'll tell you one thing that's strange also. How is it that the family does not call their loved ones for 9 days? You know what I'm saying? Like, I could see if, they were dead for a couple of days and they found them, it was 2-3 days. Like, the family's now saying, we haven't talked to either one in 9 days. I'm like, I make sure I call my parents every day. It's like, even if they don't want to talk to me, I just call and just see how they're doing. Like, I just can't picture family members who care that much to just not call for 9 days.
Dude, what happened to me, and I'm only 56, and, before this happened, I wasn't, 100% healthy, but I was somewhat healthy. And I got now everyone's like, my new thing, dude, is like my friends, guys at work, Carolyn, people like that, even Trez will say, they don't see me post on social media for even 2 days, they're going to know something's wrong.
Yeah.
That's what like everyone's telling me. That's like that's my tell for you, Kev. Is like I don't see you tweet for 48 hours. I'm fucking making phone calls. It's like because that's not you. Like that would be, and I would never even buy it that Kev just wants a break from social media because A, you do podcasts. B, you're in show business. You can't be off social media. So you're running show bookings daily for a club. You can't just take 3 days off. And if you did, you would probably make a post about it that you would take it 3 days off.
Right. And
so like people said that to me. They said, Kev, we don't see you online. I'm sorry, dude, but I'm calling your family. I'm going to make sure you're all right. And listen, I don't even get mad about it. And I understand that because, again, if you have a way you are to everybody and everyone knows me that way, and all of a sudden I have a behavior shift that that's not like Kev. Yeah, I'm probably in trouble. Yeah, you're probably right. I'm probably in dire straits, and that's what happened to me. But thank God I had the wherewithal, and even you saw DT, to post from the hospital with the bracelet on and just make a post and thank everybody. I mean, I was told, don't do that, too personal. I was like, no, because then it's going to make it worse because then no one's going to know what happened to me. So and that was the only post I made on that hospital sin is that one from several weeks ago. Yeah. Never took it down. And that was it. And the only way, how I followed up, I was on social media again and people knew I was still alive.
Yeah.
That's how I followed up. I mean, I kept in touch with you, but I didn't do these updates every day.
Yeah, sure.
The fact I was back on the fact I was back on DTHC. Yeah. And I was back on work with Trez, word got out that I'm back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but some people do these updates. But yeah, I mean, I think it's scary too if you're by yourself. I talked about it on the show. It's great to live by yourself sometimes, but if you have an accident or something happens to you, and I've fallen in my house. I've taken bad falls. I mean, shoveling snow, I had snow on the bottom of my shoe, coming in, went right across my linoleum kitchen floor. Bang, like right on my leg, like phone nowhere near me. My cell phone's in my jacket, 2 rooms away. And thank God I'm okay. But I could see it, DT, where if you are an older person, God forbid, knock on wood, your parents' age, my mother's age, that could be a serious fucking situation.
Yeah.
Where someone better find them in the next 12 hours.
Yeah, and Trez points out, especially he was 95, even more of a reason you would call your parents every day. You're like, Dad, hey, how you doing? How you feel today? Oh, what'd you do today? You're like, 95. You can't just take the benefit of I'll talk to him in 9 days. Like, that's just kind of strange.
I'm sure he's fine. Yeah, exactly.
Well, he wasn't.
He was.
Well, we'll start bringing this home. To RJ Brooklyn Savage says, to quote you, Rhea seems to be out more than she's in, so Bianca is the way to go. Something to think about also, Bianca Belair is a SmackDown star. So if Bianca wins the championship, somebody said earlier about moving Rhea to SmackDown. You could do that by default. That maybe because of the match, if Bianca by default is now the champion and goes to Raw, that forces Rhea Ripley to go to SmackDown. So they could actually, that would be a very easy way to get Rhea Ripley on SmackDown, that Bianca wins the belt and she is now a member of the Raw roster as a result. And because of that, Rhea Ripley goes to SmackDown. I like that. I think that's easy to explain.
Yeah, and thank you, RJ, for the $9.99.
Yes,
appreciate it, man. He's a good dude.
Yeah,
always.
Thank you,
dude.
RJ. And VJ, he said for you, don't look at Lola Vice's socials. I guess that means she probably posted some very pretty things.
I take those chances with Lola Vice, though. That's the one chance I'll take. But I also saw VJ wrote, "Be well, Kev. Let us know if we can help in any way. Although we don't know each other personally, we are all human." Appreciate that, VJ. That's why I think we have some of the best fans in the game we have here in the chat.
Yeah, I don't want to make this about me, but I just want to thank everybody also that was a little concerned about the thing with my blood stuff. Just for anybody that's interested, I donated blood
what's
today.
going on with you?
Yeah, I donated blood today. First time I ever donated blood like that. I donated whole blood, which was what it was called. And
like whole milk? Like
no, it was like whole blood. I'll tell you, and I want to thank Steve and everybody else on Patreon who DM'd me. I mean, really reached out. Because I was freaking nervous about it. And just to explain for everybody what's going on, I have prostate issues. I'm borderline where I got to get cancer treatment, but I'm not at that level yet, but I'm right there. So
thank God.
They had me on medicine before. And one of the problems with the medicine is that it causes your blood to get thick. And if anybody Googles it, you'll see it. It is a situation. So what happened was, over the last 6 months, my 2 blood work results that came in, everything is perfect. Cholesterol's perfect, triglycerides, everything is perfect. The only thing that's elevated is my red blood cell count. And I think if it goes over 50%, it's considered high. And when it gets to like 53%, you're in an elevated risk of getting a stroke or heart attack or something like that, blood clot. So my doctor told me, he's like, look, he says, either you got to get a sleep apnea test because he thinks it might be sleep apnea, or you have to go on medication or donate blood every couple of months. So I said, all right, I'll donate blood instead. And then I got nervous because you have to donate at least a pint. And I'm like, that's a lot of fucking blood to give away. So people were trying to calm me down. So I set up an appointment. I went to Forest Hills today, some Jewish center that had a blood drive. And when I went in there, they said they checked my temperature, they checked my iron level, and they checked my blood pressure. Everything was fine. And then they said to me, are you here for a regular blood test or you want to donate whole blood? And I was like, no, just regular blood test. So she's like, why are you here? So I explained to her what happened with my doctor. She's like, oh, no. She says, you want to donate whole blood then? She says, because what we're doing is we're only taking your red blood cells. So I'm like, how do you do that? And they we take blood out. It runs through a machine. They pull all the red blood cells out, and then you get the blood back. I'm like, why don't you just keep the blood? Like, why do I want the blood back? And they're like, no, that's how the process goes. They said it takes 25 minutes. They put me in a chair and a bench, and for 25 minutes, I laid there. Other than my arm being a little cold, it felt nothing. I had no lightheadedness, nothing. It felt absolutely nothing. But I did that today. So now in about a week, I get my blood work again, and we see how much my red blood cell count went down. So it just, when you hear, like, oh, you're higher risk of a stroke, or, it's like.
Dude, I hear it all the time with my hypertension. They got me dead every other day.
Yeah. So, and trust me, you would definitely influence me to make sure I keep my shit in check a little bit more. Trust me. You definitely helped a lot of people, more people than you know, believe me. So,
and I still need help myself. So.
No, take it one day at a time, man. Take it one day at a time. Wrestling is our release, but also we got to be very, very careful, like how much we spend time doing stuff like this. But, for under the circumstances tonight, I seriously, I know you felt obligated, but trust me, everybody that tuned in absolutely appreciates that you came here tonight. And tomorrow night, we will have a very, very, very light. Even if you want to take off, if you feel that you want to do that, it's fine. But I just
Yeah,
want
I'll let
to.
you know.
I'm very glad that you were feeling that much better. You could come on because you sounded awful earlier. You sound like you
No,
had
I
a
did.
cold. I felt bad. I
No,
really felt bad.
I was just in pain. I don't feel that great now, actually, and my vitals aren't that great, but I have to actually take some medicine after I get off the show. I did not think 2025 was going to start this way. I had different aspirations for this year, and now we're in March. It was like I thought, like some magic way. Like February was so fucked. Like I can't wait for it to be March, and now March. The first couple of days have been a fucking struggle. Yesterday was okay, but today has just been horrible. And just hope I can, get some sleep tonight. I just been kind of climbing the walls all day. So I hope it'll get better during the night. Knock on wood.
Yeah, and if anybody doesn't believe this, I'm showing everybody right now my cell phone. You could just see a screenshot, and yeah, this was about 15 minutes before, and you were just sick as a dog, and I told you, I'm like, dude, just rest, take it easy, and he's like, no, I want to do it, but can we do it at 8:30?
I know, and
I'm
I
like,
can't rest. I know, and I can't even
I
rest. That's
know
the
you
thing.
just
I gotta get
listen,
rest.
guys. I'll say this in closing, guys. We understand not everybody in the wrestling world tunes into our shows. So people are on Twitter coming up with the idea of Naomi and Jakar Jackson, the Last Legend. They're not doing it to copy us. Some people are just as smart as you. I mean, they came up with a great idea. It just took them a lot longer. But the thing is, my point is that anybody that tunes into what we do, we never tell anybody not to tune into other people's shows, but what we take pride in is that when we break things down, we always try to look one step ahead. We try to use, unbiased opinions and logic and common sense. And, sometimes what we discuss ends up happening and sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes what doesn't happen is even better. In many people's ideas, John Cena turning heel is a shitload better than our original scenario of Punk winning and Punk telling Paul Heyman, my favor is you're going to help me beat Cody, even though you care about Cody. And that felt like a much stronger, more logical storyline. They didn't go with it. But one thing is for certain, you tune into what we do, we will always give you our best. Even though I sound like I'm about to lose my voice, but excuse me, we always aim to give our best. And remember, guys, wrestling is not supposed to be about predicting things 100%. It's a different of opinions. But at the end of the day, we truly all love this. And that's why we all hang out. And nobody is wrong unless, unless you're just being a dick. Just enjoy wrestling.
Yes.
Even if we have difference of opinions, even if you feel that this person should have won, and don't listen to the haters online, even with the Jey Uso stuff. If you didn't want Jey Uso to win the Royal Rumble, it doesn't make you a hater. It just means that you wanted somebody else to win,
No, it's not that serious. It's not that serious.
Mm-hmm. So
it's not that serious. You can have your favorites, and
yeah.
Again, this is a show for escapism. It's not meet the press.
That's what it's about. So, Kev, I'm going to lose my voice. So you want to jet?
We'll wrap it up. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate
Kev,
it. And,
feel better, man. Thank you for.
Hope so. Yeah, I'll let you. No problem. I'll let you know how I'm doing tomorrow. Knock on wood. I'm all right.
I'll talk to you in a little bit.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you, man. And good night to everybody.
Take care, my friend.
Peace.
All right. Everybody, listen, I'm not saying it's to kiss his ass, but if I shared the brief audio that we had earlier, he sounded brutal. I mean, he's going through some rough shit right now. Believe me, I don't say this for sympathy, and I know he wouldn't want me to say this for sympathy, but wrestling and doing the shows are labor of love, and it is an escape. For us, it's an escape. For you, it's what we all come together for. And, it's just awesome, to see that, he is doing a little bit better. Gets rough patches, and you got to understand that. And trust me, I was prepared to go solo if needed. And I tell you, the wrestling podcast gods out there, guys, I'm telling you, I swear on a stack of Bibles, I can't remember the last time that I started a show and did not hit start stream. I literally at 8:05 p.m. did my intro, did my opening rant, told everyone that Kev is very, very sick right now. He might come on later. We don't know. I even told some people with some early super chats, like, look, if you want a refund, just reach out to me. And I'm doing a rant and I'm talking about Travis Scott and I'm explaining that, hey, I don't think he should have been in that moment because it's an iconic moment that's going to be remembered for generations to come, but I also understood why he was there. And I understand what the WWE product, the mainstream audience is. And I respect that. And I'm going on for 15 minutes and I'm looking at the chat and there's like no reaction. And I realize now that the no reaction and the people complaining was because there was no stream. But nobody was like, did the show start yet? The show start? And then all of a sudden I hear Kev in my headpiece. I hear my headphones. I hear him and I'm like, Kev, oh shit, you ready? You want to do it? He's like, yeah, this was like at 8:25 p.m. tonight. And I look at the chat room and everybody's like, is there a show? And I'm like, you guys hear me? You guys see me? And I typed it and everybody's like, no, we don't hear you, don't see you. And then I realized that I never hit start stream. So for that 20 some odd minutes that I thought I was doing a solo show, the show never started. So everything that I said never capped. And I will be honest, there was one person in the chat room who's still here. We didn't block him, but was really, really going hard on Kev earlier. And it made it even worse because, what Kev is going through with his heart issues. And I'm like, no, we ain't tolerating that shit. I don't care if you're a patron. I mean, I care, but if, it's not a money thing. It's a respect thing. And we can disagree about wrestling. We could disagree about individual wrestlers. But when you start throwing attacks, especially on my friend and my co-host, who's really going through a rough deal right now, who just labored 2.5 hours, for the show, we're not tolerating that. So it's just funny how that first 20 minutes never recorded or started on YouTube because I forgot to hit live stream. The audio recorded. I have the audio, but there's no reason for me to put it up because, trust me, having the debate with Kev, especially talking about those topics, is a trillion times better than me talking solo about it. So I just want to thank all of you for joining us tonight. Tomorrow night, since we did this review, tomorrow night, we don't have to talk about the Elimination Chamber. We'll talk about Raw, get into a couple of news tidbits, because, Kev, this is a lot on him. We're probably going to just do a very condensed show tomorrow. Who knows? He may want to take the night off. But I just want to thank you all. And, just everything that you do for us is never taken for granted. Trust me. After all these decades and we're still doing it and you guys still spend that much time, and you just can't thank you enough. So everyone, have a good rest of your evening or day, depending on where you live. And we'll be back. I've talked to Kev about the next YouTube special. I got to look at the calendar and see what's coming up. We'll probably do something maybe at the end of March. We'll see. But I will definitely keep everybody updated with that. And we'll talk to you next. Be well. Take it easy, everybody.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a podcaster. For me to live any other way was nuts. To me, those goody-good people who worked shitty jobs for bum paychecks and took the subway to work every day and worried about their bills were dead. I mean, they were suckers. They had no balls. If I wanted something, I just took it. I ran everything. I paid the bills. I paid the host. I even paid the masked maniac. Everybody had their hands out. Everything was for the taking. We always called each other good fellas. You would always hear from somebody. You're gonna like Don Tony. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us. But if you're part of my crew, nobody ever tells you they're gonna get rid of you. It doesn't happen that way. There weren't any arguments or curses like in the movies. See, your haters come with smiles. They come as your friends, the people who've claimed they care the most for your life. And now that's all over. And that's the best part. Today everything is different. There's lots of action. I don't have to wait around for everything like everyone else. Oh, I didn't get the vaccine? Fuck you, vaccine me. Oh, your delivery guy has COVID? Fuck you, feed me. Right after I moved here, I ordered egg noodles and ketchup, and I got spaghetti with meat sauce. I'm no longer an average nobody, while they get to live the rest of their lives like a bunch of schnooks.